What's up, everyone? Welcome back to This Is the Show. We're starting here at 6:02. I saw you, Brad, in the chat saying here for the weekly 6:03 stream. We're a minute early, and that's with daylight savings time.
Are we live?
We lost an hour.
That's what the little emojis look like on StreamYard. Well, that's okay.
Look, we lost an hour, and still we were a minute early for our 6:03 time. So I think we're doing pretty good.
I was here. I've been late to our own stream like the past 2 or 3 times we've done this. So.
Well, honestly, I think the reason we started a little late today is because I was too busy nerding out over our guest's wall of movies behind him. So let's just go ahead and bring our guest on. It's Adam Frazier from Slash Film. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. We've been talking for a while on Twitter and never actually been able to do a stream or anything like this. So I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, since you're new to the show, I have to ask my icebreaker question that I ask everyone. It doesn't have to be Mandalorian related, but who is your favorite deep cut, like D-list Star Wars character?
You know, it's funny because I feel like all of my favorite D-list characters are now getting elevated. You know, like I would have said Max Rebo, I would have said R5D4, but they're getting lots of screen time these days. I'm going to go with a newer character, Dr. Mandible.
Oh, okay.
I just want to see more Dr. Mandible. You know, like if this was 1995, there would definitely be a Dr. Mandible story in a Tales from the Cantina book, you know, so very interesting, like this whole deal.
Like a Doogie Howser show about how he became a doctor.
Yeah, do you think he's like a young prodigy? We don't know
how does that work. Are there a lot of giant ants that go into medicine? I mean, I don't know how that works.
I want to know if I hope that genuinely is his name. It's a very like walrus man kind of name for the cantina, so it tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want him to have like a Ponda Baba type situation. I just want him to be Dr. Mandible.
Yeah, we're down the line. They give him some real name.
Yeah.
Like, no, he's Dr. Mandible.
He'll always be Dr. Mandible to me.
So, well, you must be thrilled with R5D4 in the past few episodes. I've really enjoyed his journey of being in season 1 for just like a shot, and then he got the call out in season 2, and now he's like part of the crew.
Yeah, it's kind of a fever dream. I don't know why I've always gravitated toward R5D4 when I was
for chill.
When I was a kid playing with the old, the vintage Kenner toys, like I would always put Boba Fett in a Y-wing and put R5D4 in the droid socket. And that's basically this show. So like, I'm just having the time of my life, really. I love that they've made him this anxious, scaredy cat kind of character. I love seeing him whimper and get scared, especially in this episode, and float in zero gravity. So, it's been very rewarding to be a R5D4 fan these days.
You know, it usually doesn't. Oh, go ahead, Molly.
I was going to say, we'll have to tell our friend who loves Y-Wings that you said that.
Yes.
We don't have to. We don't have to encourage him.
Yeah.
Well, usually that question doesn't segue well into talking about the episode, but we did it. I'm impressed. So
yeah, well, thank you. I could have said a monomon or something, but you
just like the weird creatures.
I'm in that weird little guys section of the fandom where that's like with the blast points guys and stuff. That's just all I care about is weird little creatures showing up on TV. I almost had a heart attack at the Cape droids in the first episode of this season. It's like that's so deranged. I love it.
The Cape droids I loved. Yeah.
I hope we see the pirates again because I have always been a big fan of, is it Effant Man or Effant Mon?
Effant Mon, yeah.
Effant Mon in Jabba's palace, the head of security of Jabba's palace. But there's one of his species like on that pirate ship, and I saw it like really quickly, and I was like,
oh really?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're probably gonna, not to jump like all the way into next week, but I think next week's episode is directed by Carl Weathers, so we might be doing more pirate stuff.
Yeah, good feeling. Yep.
Well, let's just dive into this week's episode, The Convert. How did everyone feel stepping out of this one for the first time? Molly, how did you feel? Was it 7:30 this morning when we finished it?
Yeah, it took me a minute to get awake this morning, but I liked this episode a lot. I was glad that it started where we left off. I was afraid that we were just going to go into a completely different storyline. But I liked what they did with the structure of this episode, where we started where we left off last, and we get to see, okay, what's happening with Bo-Katan and Den and Grogu. And then we jumped into a completely different storyline, but then we kind of bookended it with Din and Bo-Katan again. So I liked the structure of this episode a lot, that we got so much different stuff. And seeing Coruscant was so cool. Oh, it looked so good. It looked so good.
They're really spoiling us recently after Andor and now The Mandalorian. I know that I was kind of hoping it would be Hosni and Prime.
Yeah.
Just to throw a little variety in there, just to get some context for the New Republic as we see it in The Force Awakens. But I really like everything they did with Coruscant in this episode.
Yeah, I did not expect to go back to the Opera House.
Yeah,
that was a total shock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the episode. It felt like Mandor. It was like the perfect combination of Mandalorian and Andor. And I was very surprised at the opening, because I think, obviously when you watch these shows, you have a certain set of your own expectations and assumptions that you bring into it. And at the end of the last episode, I thought, okay, so the Mythosaur pulled Din down, and what we learned here is that Din fell off the side of the steps and apparently did not see the Mythosaur, which is a huge twist that I didn't really even consider last week. So that was interesting, and gives Bo-Katan a little kind of feather in her cap for later.
I was, when we saw the episode description, for once it wasn't just like Din and Grogu go on an adventure.
Yeah,
I'm glad it told us we're gonna go to Coruscant, but I was also like, oh no, I really want to know the aftermath of the Mythosaur thing. So I'm glad that they bookended it with the main plot. And I'm so glad that right away we got the answer to, like, didn't see it. What's Bo-Katan gonna say about it? I loved all of that. And yeah, I was with you. I was like, surely Din is not that dumb to just walk off a cliff. But nope, that's exactly what happened. A lot of people called that last week.
Yeah,
and convinced me.
Yeah, I had a strong feeling that, one, he definitely fell, and two, he didn't see anything. He was just like, oh no. And I love that he came out of the water like, yeah, I did it. Like,
yeah,
he's
coughing
up water like, I'm redeemed.
Yeah. And Bo-Katan is like, did you see anything? No? Oh, okay.
Yeah, perhaps a little obvious with her line of questioning. But
yeah, the two questions where she's like, did you see anything? Did you see anything alive? But I mean, he's the person to ask. He's just kind of oblivious. He's probably still recovering anyway. Just like, nope, didn't see anything.
I wanted to bring this up quickly. What's up, Scotty?
Hey, Scotty.
Just wanted to pop in and say hi before I actually go rewatch the episode. Love Adam. Have a great stream, y'all.
Thanks, Scotty.
Go check out Scotty's YouTube channel. It's great.
But yeah, the intro was cool. So what do we think is up with Bo-Katan keeping it a secret?
So I sort of feel like we're going to go back to Mandalore. I don't know at what point, like, is she going to share this information with the others? Because I feel like going back on her own seems treacherous, but I don't know if she would want to bring the whole covert with her, because then everybody's going to be trying to ride the Mythosaur or whatever the rules that we have here are. I mean,
yeah,
we're talking about, okay, so do they have to tame the Mythosaur, and what does that entail? does that entail riding the mythosaur? Do they have to ride it, or do they have to like straight up kill it? Which I can't imagine them doing that, since it's this like sort of sacred creature. But
It's gonna be like one of those riding bull rides in a bar, and they each have to take turns, and whoever makes
can stay
it,
on longest.
yeah, I feel like the crocodile dinosaur turtle thing was sort of a foreshadowing of like what we may see at the end of this season, with jetpacking around and grappling hooks and people trying to get onto this thing. I don't know if it's going to be like a King of the Hill situation where they're climbing over each other to get on top of it, or what. But yeah, I've not to jump too far into the future, but I keep thinking about the usage of the word tame, and how we've already seen Grogu sort of tame the Rancor. And are they going to be fighting this thing, trying to like wrestle it to the ground and all this stuff, and then Grogu's just going to put it to sleep, and now a baby is ruler of Mandalore? Like, there's a lot of possibilities there.
I like that idea that he might give Din the edge. Like maybe the other Mandalorians won't know. Maybe the other Mandalorians won't know what is going on and why he's able to tame it. I do think tame means like ride and actually like pacify it. I don't think they're going to kill it, even though that is what they did in Legends. So maybe, but
it could
I'd
be
rather
like a tag,
see them tame it.
Yeah, could be like a tag team effort between Grogu and Din, and then everyone's going to be like, "Well, he cheated. He's got a little Jedi friend." But between the two of them, I think that counts as Din being the rider.
And does that supersede the Darksaber?
Right.
Molly, I know you had a theory about the Darksaber being destroyed, and I definitely think that's a possibility that could lead to, okay, well, I got to go back and ride this mythosaur now if I want to be ruler. So, like, I don't know where the Darksaber is going to come into this.
Yeah, like Bo-Katan has spent all this time trying to get it back, and then she can't, or she had it and then she lost it and she couldn't get it back. So I think what's going through her mind is, one, am I in a cult now? And two, what if I can get to the mythosaur without anyone else knowing, tame it, or do whatever she needs to do, and then screw the Darksaber. I'll have that, and everyone will follow me because of that.
I like the idea that they've come across this even more ancient thing, and there are no rules for this. It's too old. So, or maybe the armorer is going to make something up the second she hears, oh, there's a mythosaur. Well, here's what you need to do, and she just pulls something out of thin air. I could see that happening.
You know what I could see happening is, so Gideon, and by proxy the Empire, their whole thing was like destroying Mandalore, like wiping it off the face of the earth, right? And if he, I'm presuming those are Gideon's interceptors that destroyed Bo-Katan's castle. I mean, it could be
okay, we can go back to that.
But so Gideon is still actively trying to destroy any trace of not only Mandalore, but like Bo-Katan's lineage, right? So I could see a scenario in which he says, I'm going to destroy the Darksaber. That way no one can ever rule Mandalore again, with him not knowing that they have this in their back pocket that, well, we're going to go get the mythosaur kind of thing. So I'm wondering if that's awaiting us as well.
I did want to talk about the interceptors and the bombers and who those belong to. I'm going to lean away from Gideon.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say that I think it is building towards Thrawn, because Bo-Katan seemed surprised by the amount of force, but she seemed to know a bit about Gideon in season 2. But she could be questioning, who are these people from, because she thinks Gideon is in prison, which maybe he's not. There are rumors that he escaped, but that's just a cover story, so who knows?
I loved that little line about like, oh, I heard he escaped en route to his tribunal or whatever like that. I was like, oh, ooh, juicy.
Yeah, and I think she makes a comment while they're in the midst of the dogfight that like she's, quote, scugged off a lot of Imperial warlords. So she thinks it's related to like stealing ships and stuff, but I don't see like warlords having that sort of level of force, like
Right.
they all looked like they launched from a facility. It wasn't like, like when we first saw the Remnant in season 1 with Werner Herzog, where like they're all wearing busted up armor
Yeah.
and stuff like that. It didn't have that feeling. It felt like legit, like they came from a base. So
Yeah, it seemed like they were a little more put together. Everything looked newer, and we know that Thrawn is probably constructing something with Elsbeth. Well, she might be captured now. I don't know what happened to her after Ahsoka dueled her,
yeah,
but Thrawn seems to be building forces somewhere. So
Yeah.
that was where my mind went. But I did want to bring up the super chat. Could Corky Kreese,
Oh boy.
Sweet Feet Pete, thank you for the super chat. But Corky Kreese sent the TIE
What
fighters.
if he's actually behind all this? He's like,
he's upset at the disrespect where Bo-Katan was like, I'm the last of my line. And everyone's like, what about Corky? Including Corky.
Yeah. That droid at Bo-Katan's castle actually works for him. And he's been like sending him all kinds of updates, which RIP to that droid. I saw someone say that in the chat. Like,
I just want like an after credit stinger of him climbing out of the rubble. That's all I want.
Do you think his last words were like an unscheduled visit? Exploded.
Yes. Absolutely.
Hopefully they'll put a statue of him somewhere around there.
And then in a couple seasons they'll rebuild him.
Yes. I loved that chase through the cliffs, the canyons, and R5, like we said, being very nervous about it, and the shot of him floating in zero gravity, and Bo doing that like Tokyo Drift kind of slide. I mean, it's just wild stuff. That was all before the title card. It was like dizzying.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize that. So that brings us to my drawing. I realized just trying to draw her ship Tokyo drifting by itself was kind of boring. So I added Den's reaction to seeing her do that. Whoa.
Yeah.
It is kind of a boring ship to draw, just a bunch of triangles.
I mean, it doesn't normally have just the one wing up like that.
It looks like it's waving.
It does. It does. But I loved that part. I was like,
it was so sick.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've really seen Bo-Katan in live action do some dogfighting in her gauntlet. I want that.
Molly, you said that was Din's reaction. I'm pretty sure that was my exact reaction of just like, whoa. Oh, I loved that.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they like jump to hyperspace, and they go to
real quick. I was going to bring up one more super chat from Stuart Jade, just because he said, thank you, Stuart. Bo-Katan flying through the canyons gave me serious Death Star trench vibes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Both of the starfighter action sequences we've had in this season so far have been so good, because I think they've done stuff like, let's make it in a canyon, or let's make it next to an asteroid field, so we get that sense of speed.
Yeah.
Whereas I think maybe they just couldn't figure out how to do it right in season 1. Season 2, even, we got a little bit of dogfights, but it was just in deep space. Yeah. And it didn't feel that level of excitement, but they're really nailing it now. And I love it.
Do you know that, like, is there any information on the name of this planet that the Mandalorians are hanging out on?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. That's what I come to you for, Alex.
Well, I got nothing. The Mandalorian has been an interesting show for lore. Some they'll pull in something really deep, but anything new they introduce, they're like, his name is the client. I don't know.
Right.
You're like, all right.
Yeah, in some ways,
the armorer.
Yeah, in some ways it's like going back to like 1977 Star Wars, where some of this stuff isn't fully fleshed out, but then you have extremely deep pulls from like Legends, expanded universe stuff. So it's kind of hard to keep up with. I wish all Star Wars shows would adopt the Rogue One approach now of just putting the planet down on the screen, so I can keep up with where we are. But
yeah, it'd make a lot of our lives easier.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to have Rogue One or Andor, like Andor, where it says in scene 1, 5 BBY, which alone is a very nerdy thing to do. And then in this show, we're like, it's 5-ish years after Return of the Jedi, and I don't know, maybe Grogu spent 2 years with Luke.
Right. But then they'll commit to the names of the days of the week. Like we got Bindu Day and Tongs Day. It's like,
all right, well, now you brought up my drawing. Because that was super fun and nerdy and deep cut, and I liked that alien design.
You captured his essence perfectly. Yeah.
It's Tongs Day, my dudes.
Such a fun little alien.
Incredible.
And not little, he was a big old alien, and I liked him a lot.
Yeah.
But,
Tongs Day. Yeah, that's gonna be like ringing in my head for weeks. Tongs Day. What are the other days of the week?
Prime Day, Syntax Day, Bindu Day, Zell Day, and Tongs Day.
Wow. Disgusting.
I looked it up earlier.
Oh, that's a real thing?
Yeah. You thought I
okay.
just made those up? Honestly, I'd be more impressed with myself if I could do that.
Where do those names come from, Alex? Do they come? I thought I saw where they come from, like a Millennium Falcon, like owner's manual or something like that. Do they come from another canon book?
I think that is what canonized them, but they were set up in Legends. I don't know, probably in a RPG source book.
Yeah.
It's all based off Coruscant history. So the Tongs were, I like that they used Tongs Day because they were originally the Mandalorian species.
Yeah.
And then they created Mandalorian culture and it evolved from there. But they originally came from Coruscant, and so did the Zell. And those two cultures clashed, and the Zell won, and the Tongs left.
It's cool, but it's also like I'm trying to wrap my head around, like, imagine seeing the original Star Wars and Luke is like, oh, I was going to go to the Tashi station on Tongs Day. And you're just like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, are these the days of the week only on Coruscant or just
Yes.
everywhere? Oh, okay.
I mean, a lot of time is based on Coruscant time in Star Wars, but they're the Coruscant days of the week, and they only have 5. And I hate that. I don't know why. I'm just like, what do you mean you only have 5?
Maybe they don't have names for the weekend because they're like, no one's at work. Everyone's just chilling and relaxing. We don't need a name for those days.
The Empire abolished the weekend.
No.
Yeah, so like Boonta Eve probably happened on a Tuesday night. You can't cut loose on a Tuesday night with Boonta Eve. So they jump to hyperspace and they go to the covert, and I guess I'll just go ahead and bring up my drawing because it's just a very scrunchy, just a scrunchy little Mandalorian helmet, because that's been another one of the joys of particularly this season is seeing all of this crazy armor, all of these different looking Mandalorians. I just want like a photo book of all of them because they all look so cool.
There are some weird designs.
Yeah.
That I'm actually going to see if I can find one here.
Paz Vizsla, I kept looking at his armor in this episode because like his helmet looks extra thick.
Yeah.
Like it's just
and small. It's like it seems like it's much smaller, and his body and his jetpack is like gigantic.
Yeah, he's just an oddly proportioned, very large Mandalorian. But every time I see his helmet, I'm like, why does his helmet look so much thicker than everybody else's? But maybe he asked for it that way. I don't know if he can put in requests for that kind of thing.
We don't know like how the armor chooses colors or designs or any of that. So I like that. He's like, make my helmet special.
Yeah.
And I was noticing this like orange one behind the white helmet. That one is an odd design. It looks more medieval.
It looks like the knights who say from Monty Python.
It's the knights who say this is the way. Yeah,
pretty much.
Well, yeah, let's just go ahead and stick with the Mandalorian centric side of this story and finish that out. So Din takes Bo home to meet his surrogate mother and introduce him to his family. And I was honestly kind of surprised that the armor was like, good job, Din. You did it. Welcome back. I kind of thought she was going to make up some new BS to keep him out of the fold.
Yeah, I was. Again, it's funny. Like when you think of these things, it's like last episode. It's like, okay, he bathed in the living waters. Now, like, how's he going to prove that? You know, like, and then it was just as simple as taking a vial of water and them pouring it into a thing and be like, okay, you passed. Like it was almost like a Mandalorian drug test or something.
That Molly called that. Molly was like, I bet that water is the stuff that she keeps putting in her armor making forge.
Because I brought it up in our reaction, or maybe it was our commentary for the first episode when we see her using it, and I was like, what is that stuff that she pours in before she makes this stuff and it's all sparkly? Like, is that magic water? Is it just for looks? Is it adding glitter to their helmets? And then it clicked when he got the vial out to like get some of the water. I was like, oh, that's the magic water.
Yeah.
I bet he didn't actually need to be redeemed. She was just running low on her special water.
That's probably it. Yeah.
I bet she has a bunch of it.
You do raise you do raise a good point. Like if Mandalore has been poisoned this whole time, like she's got a secret stash somewhere.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I still don't trust her, but I'm glad she let him back in.
So since we're sticking on the Mandalorian side of things, I'll just kind of run through this. But like, I get the feeling like I've already seen a little conversation online about Bo potentially joining a cult, but I think like this is all working out great for her because if she's going to go get the mythosaur, right? Like we now have this group of people all following one way, right? And if she becomes leader, she can then institute a new way. And I just totally imagine her like either on top of the mythosaur or what have you, taking that helmet off and saying, this is the way. And then, you know, like, what are they going to do? She's the leader of Mandalore. She just said, take your helmets off. And we could potentially get this amazing shot of all the Mandalorians like taking their helmet off. And you see the armorer for the first time.
That'd be cool.
Because I just feel
interesting.
It's funny every time Emily Swallow's like on the red carpet. I'm like, who is that? Oh yeah, that's right. She's under a helmet for eternity.
So crazy.
That's an interesting thought. I personally, right now, just that last shot of her looking at the Beskar mythosaur made me think that she's like, maybe I'll keep my helmet on for a while. Yeah, I don't think she's fully in, but
yeah.
Well, like she just lost all of her friends. She's just been home alone sulking, and she went on this insane journey back to Mandalore and did all that stuff with Den. So like going back to her roots, reminding herself of like her royal background and like the traditions and everything, and then she sees the mythosaur, and then we get to this point. And you can kind of see the hesitation where the armorer is like, well, technically you're redeemed too. And she's like, well, hold on now. And then I think it starts to click. She's like, well, I do need some friends, and I could maybe not tell anyone else about the mythosaur and then go get it and bring it here and rule everyone.
Yeah, it's an opportunity to build trust. You know, if she's going to eventually lead Mandalore, like this is a good opportunity to get in with the Watch and gain their trust. So very interested to see how this continues to develop.
I love that they are presenting. I guess it's just decisions every week. That's kind of the cliffhanger. Because last week I was like, "Ooh, is she going to tell Den or not about the mythosaur?" And now this time it's like, did she join a cult or not? And like, I'm leaning towards that she might be kind of considering it. But I also thought Coruscant would be Hosnian Prime. So what do I know?
I think there's also an element of that where it's like she's been hanging out with Den and he says this is the way. And now like when she said it back to him, it was less snarky and it was more like, okay, well, you were raised by these people and you seem to turn out okay. So maybe they're not that bad. Like there seems to be a little bit of acceptance on both sides of the, you know, her side and the armor side. So
well, that's my hope is that at the end of this series, all the Mandalorians realize that this is the way. That's a cool thing to say. Neat catchphrase, but like it's wrong. And that they need to be like, nah, there's a lot of different ways to be a Mandalorian. And we are if you want to keep your helmet on, cool. If you want to take your helmet off, great. Darksaber, like here, you want to borrow it, whatever. Like abandon the rules and just everyone just be chill, you know?
Maybe they just leave it up to the individual clans and houses or whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I mean, I feel like that's the whole thing is a commentary on religions or fandoms or cultures where, I mean, to keep it into the Star Wars fandom, where people will get tribal about whether or not it's the original trilogy. No, it's the prequel trilogy. No, it's the sequel trilogy. And like some people will be like, oh, you're only a true fan if you like X, Y, or Z. It's like, don't we all just like lightsabers and space battles and the Force? And can we just be chill?
And Dr. Mandible.
Yeah, 100% of people love Dr. Mandible.
We just called out one of our friends, actually. This isn't really Star Wars related, but we went to go see the new Scream movie. And he was talking all this stuff, and he just kind of like very casually said something about, oh, if you know about this or you put this together, you're a true fan. I forget what he actually said, and we both went, mm-mm.
He said true Scream fans will think X, Y, or Z, and
yeah,
he didn't mean it in a bad way, but just those words, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
For normal, I say normal people, but like for the casual fans of anything, it's easy to say something like that, but we hear it so much, and so we like all of our red flags went up, and we were like, please don't say that.
Yeah, he's not our friend anymore. We just we left him there.
Canceled. Disowned.
Well, is there anything more we want to say about the Mandalorian part of this episode of The Mandalorian?
Okay, so yes, I will. Okay. I will take this opportunity. So I've also been thinking a lot about King Arthur and the Arthurian legend and how that, you know, obviously was part of the inspiration for the original Star Wars and, you know, Joseph Campbell, yada, yada, yada. And I've been thinking that if Grogu does become Mandalore, like he is essentially the boy king, you know, like he's the ruler, but he can't actually rule because he can't even speak yet. So he's going to need essentially a round table of trusted knights to like help him out and advise him. And I feel like we're seeing all those people, like those pieces are being put into place. Obviously it's Din, Bo-Katan. You could even put like Boba Fett in there if you want to get wild.
If you want to get real wild, Cobb Vanth.
Yeah, Cobb Vanth.
He had some armor for a while.
Yeah, Pelly, if you want to get real crazy.
they need a mechanic.
Yeah.
I like the idea that he's pointing out his counsel. It's like Din Djarin, and everyone's like, yep, yeah, Bo-Katan makes sense. Boba Fett, okay. Cobb Vanth, little iffy. And you, Pele Mato.
Yeah. Crazy like, desert grandma. You're in. But yeah, Luke, Ahsoka, it's, you know, it's an interesting thing to think about. I mean, I don't know, you know, at first we thought that the Mandalorian, the MandoVerse was leading to this, you know, there was going to be Ahsoka, and then there was going to be Rangers of the New Republic. And then we were talking about this climactic crossover event and what does that look like? And now Rangers is kind of, it's shelved. It's not really part of that continuity now.
When we get to the next bit of the episode, I kind of wonder if they took from Rangers, and kind of feels put it over here.
So, like, you know, what's the end game here? Are we going to a sort of a reconfigured version of Heir to the Empire? I mean, we've got Thrawn out there, we've got Mount Tantus stuff and Bad Batch, and if it's going 5-6 seasons, I mean, I have no idea at this point, but I just feel like that would be a great kind of path for Grogu. And because we know how Star Wars works with like time gaps, right? Like they're eventually going to have to jump ahead or jump backward, and then they'll work in that gap to fill it all in, right? So at some point, are we going to jump 200 years into the future when Grogu is like a an able-bodied leader, and like, what's that going to look like? I have no idea. I'm just rambling now, but this is just what I think about all day. So
I do love the sword and the stone of it all.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes with what we were just talking about. We just recorded our Q&A that's coming out on Saturday, but the idea of like, maybe the end game of all this is there will be a group council, something like that, of people that are leading everything on Mandalore. But yeah, a lot of people have been like, well, Grogu's going to be the leader of Mandalore, of course. Like, it's got to be him. But yeah, he can barely wrangle an Anzellan, let alone handle the Darksaber. Like, I wish the Darksaber were like the One Ring and it would shrink down to his size if he were worthy to hold it.
Hey, he hasn't tried to hold it yet. We don't
It would
know.
look like a little like butter knife. It would be amazing.
Yeah, and maybe to continue with the sword and the stone references, Grogu will be the one to coax the mythosaur out of the waters. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. I love it.
I love how mythical this series is. Like, it definitely dabbled in the Andor side of the universe today, but for the most part, I mean, talking about making jokes about how there are characters just called the Client and the Armorer, and that's because Jon Favreau, I think, is really interested in like these tropes and archetypes, just like George Lucas was, and telling a big mythical story. And so, like, I do think it's possible that Grogu might wind up as leader of Mandalore in 100 years or so, maybe. I don't know, but like, that is the ultimate expression of saying, we're done with this is the way, because like this little guy can lead us.
Yeah. Like Arthur was counseled by Merlin, a magician, and we started this whole thing out with Din talking about, I have to go find a race of wizards, and it just feels like, this is where we're going. But that is
Luke is the Merlin. Luke is the Merlin.
Yeah, exactly. Luke could be his Merlin.
He's not kooky enough.
old The Last Jedi level Luke, though, is
pretty kooky. I can get down with that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's head over to Coruscant and talk about the it did feel very Andor. I like, from that first setting of the Opera House and then Dr. Pershing coming out and immediately being accosted by all of these like rich Coruscanti snobs who were just being like, oh, the Empire, the Rebels, the New Republic, I can't keep track. We try not to get involved. I'm like, oh, you would love Perrin. That's exactly what it made me think of.
It made me think exactly of the people at their little house party that they had, of like just very nonchalantly talking politics and being like, it's too much for me. I don't know.
Pershing's like, oh, it's better here than the Outer Rim, and they're all like, Outer Rim, like
they've never been there. They don't know what it's like.
Yeah, they don't care. Like, they're struggling, everyone, and they're just like, haha, Outer Rim.
And as he finished up his TED talk and headed down the stairs, and he's having the conversation about like strand casts or whatever it seemed like, there's like the camera pans, and then there was that Mon Calamari there. I was like, oh God, like I was not expecting a Coruscanti Mon Calamari at 6 a.m. when I was watching.
He looked really shiny too, like almost like he had glitter or like makeup on, like something really glowy. He looked different.
Definitely.
Rich. He looked rich.
I liked that scene a lot. It did make me understand why they didn't go too heavy with the aliens in Andor, because I was like, I think it does undercut things a little bit if you're trying to talk about something really serious. I'm like, this is a scene that could have been in Andor, but having the Fishman there,
it felt like a commitment to like the prequels, because that was the prequels, right? Like, I mean,
the that's true.
Was not afraid of throwing a crazy alien at you, saying something important. So that kind of made the whole Coruscant sequence gel for me. It was like, oh, I know, I'm right back in it. Like Dex's Diner is like down the street, basically. So
we still got It's a Trap And then the 1 or 2 seconds that the camera went over to the Mon Calamari guy, I was like, yes.
He was literally like, come on now.
He's like, oh God, not this again.
Everyone says that to me.
I also loved the when Pershing is in the taxi and he's having the conversation with the droid, who the droid suggests checking out the Sky Dome Botanical Gardens, which I feel like is a reference to like a Kevin J. Anderson book or something.
Wouldn't surprise me. I haven't looked it up yet.
I think it's from those like Jedi, like the Young Jedi or wherever that series was. Then he talks about the Galactic Museum and how they have a wonderful new exhibit on hyperdrive technology. And then he talks about going on a day trip to the Holographic Museum of Extinct Animals, which sounds amazing. That's exactly what I would do if I was on Coruscant.
They're trying to turn this place into Orlando.
Yeah.
I like
there's
that.
Tons of stuff to do.
Yeah.
I like that the droid turned its head around backwards and Pershing was like, eyes, please. Like, I'm sure it's on autopilot or something, but every time anyone looks away from the road for 2 seconds in any film, I'm like, what are you doing?
That was like that felt like a Total Recall reference. There were a lot of like little references that felt like they were from Blade Runner or Terminator or other big like sci-fi films of that ilk. Like I think in Total Recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger gets into a like automated cabbie like thing, and the cabbie droid actually turns his head around and starts talking to him. So I thought later when they're on the train and the 2 silver robots are like following through the train, there seemed to be like a Terminator vibe there. Like the music seemed to be suggesting it, but yeah, I loved all that stuff. And then let's talk about the amnesty housing situation.
Yeah, I really liked that scene.
This was pretty wild.
I'm gonna guess they're former stormtroopers.
Yeah, I think so.
They seemed to be deliberately cast to be imposing over Dr. Pershing.
Yeah, and they weren't like the aristocratic like officer types either.
Yeah,
you know.
I looked over at Alex this morning, and I think it was at the point where he's at his office job doing his what I assume are TPS reports or the Star Wars versions of that. I was like, are they not using their names? Do they not have names anymore? And he was like, yeah, I think that's the point. Because they're basically still just being treated like stormtroopers or prisoners.
Yeah.
Like they're being given these like crap jobs and these kind of crap housing. And they're like, we're doing you a favor. We're going to reintegrate you into our society.
Yeah, like if you want to be reintegrated or reintegrate these people, like don't give them more TK numbers. Like these people have been TK 1163 for years. Yeah. And then you're just like, okay, well now you're G62. Congratulations. Like, what are you doing? They're introducing themselves to each other that way. That's insane.
Yeah. Every time I don't know how often they're making them go see this droid therapist, but it made me think of Severance whenever he has to like go in for one of those little interviews. I don't know if anyone watches Severance, but it's very creepy. And just the fact that it's a droid and not even a person, like that is just a whole other level of like, okay, we don't really care about you. You're just here to answer questions and go back to your crap job.
So we're doing a lot of references this time. It reminded me of Blade Runner.
Yeah, absolutely. The like 2049, like the like in not an interrogation, but like his like check-in or whatever. Yeah.
Yep. Really, really interesting. But yeah, I loved the scene where he came back and they were like, come drink with us. And they're all very on the surface, like, glad the Empire's gone. Like, long live the New Republic and all. But like, what do you miss? What do you miss about the Empire, y'all? Yeah.
The cookies. Yeah.
Biscoff. Space Biscoff cookies.
I saw people tweeting. I think it was actually Scotty Holiday. I think tweeted, come to the dark side. We have cookies. And it's like, oh, it's canon now.
It is canon now. Yeah. And then we get the scene of him in his room alone, and he's like on his iPad, like listening to a history of Coruscant. Like,
oh yeah, I was like, he's just listening to a Wikipedia article.
Yeah,
You said he's listening to Star Wars Explained.
I genuinely might do a short where I just reread that exact script.
yeah.
Ooh, that would be funny.
Yeah.
And then cut to him in bed holding the tablet.
And he hits the subscribe button. Like and subscribe.
There's also this interesting thing going on where when we first see Pershing, he's giving this speech that feels very important, and it's in front of thousands of people. And then we find out that he's just this like nobody in this little office, and like he's, like Molly said, he's doing TPS reports. Like it was so like the conversation where the guy comes by and he's like, "Oh, I saw your talk last night. I had no idea that you were that, like qualified or whatever."
He's being paraded in front of all these rich snobs who are like, "Oh, good for you.
So glad you're on our side."
Yeah.
We're doing such good work for all of these people." And he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll just go back to my crap life after I said all that important stuff." And he's like, "Can I actually go back to my very important research?"
Yeah. Can I go back to making Snokes in jars or?
Yeah, whatever he's doing.
I kept waiting for him to like go more in depth on what exactly he wanted to do. He just was like, "I want to continue my research."
That rich person interrupted him when he was like, "The first strand casts didn't go so well," and I was like, "We saw those," and he was like, "But and then someone came up and ruined that conversation."
Dang it.
So, and then I guess somewhere in there, Kane. Well, I guess we haven't really mentioned that he meets Elia Kane there, who was on Gideon's light cruiser, and they go to, I guess, like a street fair or a carnival at Monument Square.
So cool.
There were magicians and stilt walking droids, and
the boardwalk
and the Resistance March playing.
Resistance March was playing. They were eating fizzy, glowing ice cream, which was interesting.
So cute. And then we saw the tip of the mountain, which I wasn't expecting to get that little tidbit. That was cool.
It's like I saw it in the distance, but I was like, that's just a neat detail. And the fact that they went up to it, I was like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I've seen that picture
from original Ralph McQuarrie art to then it was in the Clone Wars, and then the High Republic really made a big deal about the Mountain Peak, and now it's in live action. So cool.
And so then we get the whole like he needs parts and supplies. Like there's this idea of a mobile lab station, and so they're going to go to the disposal yards to.
I like the way that she kind of probes him. Like the whole time I was like, do not trust her. From that first scene, I was like, no. But I also enjoyed watching them talk. I think I had a smile on my face the whole episode where she's like, live a little, touch the mountain, break the rules. It's not the Empire. Like just to see if he would be willing to do that. And then she's like, okay, next time I'll suggest that all we have to do is go outside of our allowed perimeter or whatever, and we'll push a little farther. Like she did such a good job of pushing him a little bit at a time.
I know.
I actually tweeted at both of them.
I was going to bring this up, so I'm glad you did.
I said I was actually rooting for them to be besties because, like, even though I know now she was like putting on a fake persona, but I was like, I would like to see them be friends. And he said, off camera, you're not far off. And he sent that picture of the two of them.
Oh, wow.
Which is so cute.
Yeah, Molly was just casually tweeting with both of them today.
Now we're all besties.
Now you're all besties.
I didn't believe her for a second because I was just remembering before this season started, I did a rewatch of Mando and Book of Boba Fett and stuff. And the scene where Gideon like basically says, you'll be rewarded in the new era. I was like, oh man, she's in for life. Like she's like his disciple. So when she showed up, I was like, oh, this is not going to work out well. But I thought it was interesting that they find a way to go to the scrapyard where there's this decommissioned Star Destroyer. And I think earlier when Pershing's at his desk talking to that guy's talking about how they're also decommissioning the
Alliance,
right? Yeah.
Which all around this episode, like I've made jokes today in this live stream about how sometimes they'll kind of wash away what happened in a book, but they really were consistent with the Aftermath trilogy, the book Last Shot, Last Shot, the Alphabet Squadrons, specifically Victory's Price, and I would say Star Wars Squadrons. Like everything that they said today, fit with what I was like, that tracks with what I already know, and that felt great.
I bet you're right. I bet Rangers of the New Republic was going to be a spin-off that followed the Doctor and some of these like ex-Imperials or whatever. And what I realized is I was sort of expecting this episode to be the quote unquote Coruscant episode, just because most of what we had seen in the trailers was in the first 2 episodes. And so, we have the pirate confrontation, which I assume is next week, but we didn't see any of Carson Teva, and I thought that we would. So that's got to be coming at some point, unless he was cut, which I can't imagine that was the case.
If they're going to put him in the trailer,
right?
They're not going to cut Carson Teva,
right? So we still have a lot to dig into as far as the Republic's concerned.
Yeah, it's interesting that we will probably do another Coruscant episode, or at least New Republic,
maybe
outpost something.
Like a Gideon centric episode or something as well.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting to get some answers on that.
Like, so all of those officers that arrested him, I guess they're all in on it too. Like, or do they know who she is?
I think her job, quote unquote, her cover, I think she is 100% loyal to Gideon or whoever, but I think that her job is to pull people into this predicament and trap people and just like push them into outing themselves. Be like, Dr. Pershing, don't you want to finish your research? And then he goes and they get all of the supplies that she needs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They gather the supplies. She just walked off with it. Who knows what she did with all that stuff?
I know.
Because everyone was like, good job, you got Dr. Pershing.
It's also like they can't let the Republic know about any of this stuff. So like Pershing has seen like Snoke tanks and stuff like that. He's been privy to this like secret experiment stuff going on that ultimately we know will be traced up to Palpatine being resurrected. But like, this is sort of that, like in Attack of the Clones when, is it Poggle? That's like, they can't find out what we're building and they take the hologram of the Death Star. That's sort of what this feels like. Like we have to keep all this stuff a secret. And so we have to wipe this guy's mind.
Yeah.
Because he'll spill the beans on it. So
that scene was so painful to see. Cause like, the first thing I noticed when they hooked him up to that, I was like, okay, you're saying that this is now only used for therapeutic reasons, but they turned it up to about this much. The screen goes up till here.
That's what I'm like, what are you doing? What? It's not, we're not the Empire, son. It's like, well, then remove levels 3 through 11.
Yeah, put a stopper on the little dial. Also, don't leave her in there alone. She's not a doctor. She just was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he says it's a 602 mitigator, and Pershing's like, it's a mind flare. He's like, well, it's a similar device. Like,
he's like, I'm a scientist. I know what this is.
Yeah,
that scene really upset me just because I, want the New Republic to be better, but seeing scientists walk in and they're wearing like identical. They changed the colors and they changed the Imperial patch to the first aid patch that Star Wars uses. But I'm like, that's the Imperial scientist engineer uniform you're wearing.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you're using an Imperial torture device. You're just promising not to put it over level 2 or whatever. And just on the surface, they keep the New Republic is like, we're not the Empire, but if you dig down just a little bit, we still have the capacity to be,
Yeah.
and it's upsetting.
Poor Alex was being a sweet summer child this morning. I was like, I'm not surprised.
I mean, I'm
Jerks.
like, again, it's all consistent. It all makes sense with what I've read in the books and Bloodline, Aftermath, Victory's Price. It all tracks. I'm just like, come on, y'all.
It's like a digital Borgullet. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if when we see Pershing again, he's going to be like Bodhi Rook and just like have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, I am curious to see like if we ever get him back, is he going to be lost to humanity after this, or will he just not remember a whole bunch of things? I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder if they straight up killed him. I guess he
Yeah,
set up the stakes pretty well of just, you're going to wipe my mind.
Yeah.
So,
Sad.
yeah, it was a huge bummer, but I also liked the reveal. It was cool.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
give-
Katie O'Brien did such a good job at that turn.
And that
Like you could see
character,
just the evil pour out of her face in that moment, and you're just like, oh.
well,
Yeah.
like she's dialing it up all the way as she just eats one of those biscuits, like dead eyes. I also like that they took the time. Like, she didn't have to stop and be like, hi, also my name is this, and let me learn your name, and let's make this personal now. Like, she knew what she was gonna do to him, and she's
Yeah.
still like, let's know each other's names. Oof.
Yeah, she's evil.
But I like it. I'm so glad that she has like a bigger part, because
Yeah.
I
I think, like, despite it like being dark and whatnot, I appreciate that it's giving depth to the overall MandoVerse and the Mando story, because there's the criticism, which I don't agree with at all, but just the criticism that Mando is basically a show to sell merchandise. It's just, you know, cute, funny, what have you, and it doesn't have any substance, but it actually has a lot of substance. And now we're seeing additional layers being added to not just like the mythological stuff, but now we're seeing connections to Andor and the sequel trilogy, and it's I mean, it's very interesting.
I like that
they took
argument
the time.
Sorry.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, they took the time in the first 2 seasons to set a lot of stuff up and to get us really like familiar with these characters and to fall in love with a lot of these characters. And now they're dropping some bombs on us, and like it's the characters that we know and love are changing and starting to question a lot of stuff. So I like where this is headed.
It's the old like the argument of filler, and I just don't believe in filler in Star Wars, because it always ties back into something. Like anything that's introduced, whether it's like 2 weeks from now or 30 years from now, like they will find a way to use it and make it meaningful in a story. So
I like the argument that, Mandalorians only exists to sell toys, and I'm like, well, where are they? It took me a year and a half to get my Cobb. Where was my Cobb Vanth action figure for 18 months?
Yeah,
that argument makes no sense. But
the Tusken Warrior is like now available for pre-order.
For pre-order, yeah. But I do see people making that argument that Andor was fantastic and I loved it. I think they were very upfront with what they were saying, but I love that the MandoVerse really leans into the Star Wars mythos.
Yeah.
They use Star Wars things to say similar stuff. They explore the same themes, but they just used a Rancor to do it this time.
Yeah.
And I love that.
They don't shy away from the pulpiness of it all. And like they have a really good balance now of the pulpy, silly, like fun, crazy Star Wars, and like the deep, meaningful, mythological Star Wars that you know connects to everything.
Yeah,
totally agree.
So what do you think's coming next week? I mean,
I was about to ask you, Adam.
Yes. Well, I feel like it has to, like, they're probably going to be hanging out at the covert, doing whatever they do at the covert, and Mando's going to get a hologram from Grief Karga where he's like, Mando, you know, the pirates are back and
Yes.
we need your help. And they're just
You
gonna
might be
take off.
surprised to learn that the pirates are here.
Oh my God.
And so they're gonna come save the day, and we're gonna get the big pirates versus Mando showdown. And
Oh yeah. I had that kind of moment of revelation when Din dropped out of Bo-Katan's gauntlet. Awesome moment, by the way.
yeah,
But I was like, oh, it's her starfighter. So she is going to pilot the entire covert to Navarro, and they're all gonna drop out in that awesome scene they've been showing since Celebration. And
I was gonna
they're
bring up
save
that
Navarro.
they're probably just all playing Scrabble, but they're also drinking lots of wine through straws.
yeah,
Because what else is there to
and
do?
Pog soup.
Yeah.
And Poxy.
Oh yeah. Maybe Bo-Katan will make Pog soup for all of them.
Oh yeah. I would really like to see just Bo-Katan and the Armorer have a one-on-one chat, because there's this question of like, how much does the Armorer actually know about Bo-Katan and her past history and all that?
Yeah.
Is she going to challenge her on that and be like, I know what you did, I know about Death Watch? Or like, are they going to be best friends? Like, I really just want them to sit down and chit chat.
The Armorer is so interesting too, because everyone follows her. Everyone treats her like a leader, but she doesn't have the Darksaber, and she also doesn't seem to have any designs to want to be the leader, at least what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So like, she's fine with being the leader of the covert, I guess, but she doesn't seem to be interested in leading the entire civilization, I guess.
Mm.
Yeah, because
she would have challenged him.
She could have taken it in Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Oh.
But yeah, I think going back to Navarro for more pirate stuff next week.
Pirate King Gorian Shard.
I do like him.
Yeah.
Another instant favorite for me.
Also, our friend John Hoey dubbed him Kale Organa today.
Kale Organa.
I saw that. I saw that.
that.
That was amazing. Yeah.
He looks more like seaweed to me, but yeah, maybe a little kale mixed in there.
Yeah.
Well, that's been just about exactly an hour. I think we timed that perfectly. So, Adam, we will start to let you go. But before you do, where can people follow you and find you online?
Well, I am a freelance writer for Slash Film, so you can read my work there. And probably the best place to find me is just on Twitter. I guess we're still using Twitter, even though it's just a absolute
mess.
But but I'm at Adam Frazier on there. And if you want to geek out about Dr. Mandible or any other obscure creatures, I'll be available. So
I put links to Slash Film and your Twitter and your link tree in the description already. So go check out Adam. And thanks so much for. I know Star Wars Bits is not a thing anymore, but thanks so much.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Like you included us and a ton of other great creators, a bunch of our friends every week, and that was. I've been reading Slash Film for like 20 years. I feel like so.
You introduced me to it, and then I started reading it.
I remember the first day. I don't remember what it was, but Slash Film posted something I did, and I was like, oh my God.
Totally geeked out.
It still feels good. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your evening, and we're going to hang out, answer some chat questions. But thank you so much, Adam. Have a great rest of your night.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
See
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All right. That was fun.
No ads today? Do we have an
No
ad
ads today. Do you need to, do you want to go to the
No, I'm
restroom
good.
or anything? I can.
I'm good. I went before we started.
I talk for a minute.
No, I've seen some really good, interesting, juicy questions pop up in the super chats. So
let's do it.
Let's get started. I'll scroll up if you want to start with the first one.
You can go into the starred tab too.
See, I did that 2 times ago, and it's like you have to keep starring them or else they get out of order. So I'm just gonna go up in the chat.
Well, I already did that.
Did what?
I starred them all.
No, as they keep coming in, they'll get out of order.
Okay.
I'm telling you, it gets messy.
All right. Well, the first one is right at the top of the starred list. From Stuart Jade, thank you. The pain in his voice when he said, "You set me up, you set me up. Why did you set me up? Also, if this isn't the Empire Sun, then why does that machine even go to 11?" Agreed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt bad for Pershing. Uh, I feel mixed on Pershing because I don't know that he fully believed his own lies. I don't like. I think he kept telling himself, "Oh, you're doing this for the New Republic, and this is good. Your research will help people." And I'm like, I don't think you really believe that, especially when they play the creepy opera house music over him saying that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Pershing. Sounds like you just kind of want to do your research for the hell of it.
Yeah, it's because towards the end of this episode, you start to feel bad for him, but we still don't know like what exactly he was trying to accomplish with his research, and I'm sure he thinks it was for a good reason.
It was interesting to hear even those little tidbits of like, I was trying to combine genetic material from two different people into one. And they're like, okay. And Grogu's one of them. So who's the other?
Yeah. How dare.
He's just trying to make more Grogus. Maybe it was an even
No.
cuter Grogu.
He's trying to steal the midichlorians from Grogu, and that's all he cares about.
I don't know.
Drama. Nothing but drama over there. Red Vega has the next 2 super chats. Thank you so much. I wear my this is the song. I wear my sunglasses at night, says
Who sings that?
Mr. Pershing.
I mean, like, who really sings that?
Oh, I forget. Is it Duran Duran? That's probably wrong. I don't know.
I know the Blues Brothers wear their sunglasses at night.
Anyone who's cool, they do it.
Pershing's cool. You heard it here first. Cool
Corey
dude
Hart.
with his sunglasses.
Corey Hart, not Duran Duran. Well, you know, I'm not that old, y'all.
Red Vegas
says they're probably prescription. I like that.
I'm sure they are. Also, like one of the few appearances of glasses in Star Wars. It's pretty rare.
Well, yeah. I mean, they they do that to make someone look smart or nerdy or like a scientist. Put a pair of glasses on them.
Red Vega, thank you for the next super chat as well. Also, Elias Kane's outfit and haircut reminded me of Supreme Leader Kim Jong-un. Sorry.
Sorry.
I mean, it may have been a subtle hint that she was still a fascist.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I doubt it. I doubt the costume designer was like, give me the Kim Jong-un. That's the look I'm going for.
Probably not. We read this one, I think, earlier.
Yeah.
And then Sweet Feet Pete has the next one here. The New Republic using a mind flayer made me violently uncomfortable most of the time. I like seeing the darker side of stuff, but that was a nah from me.
Well, I felt the same way.
That was a nah, dog.
Yeah, I felt the same way because you're not supposed to see that from the good guys. And it's frustrating to see that. But I think that's just what happens when someone like the Emperor takes over. It's like, it's not an easy transition back to normal. And I think the New Republic really effed up how they went back. And that goes down to decisions that were made in the Aftermath books and Last Shot, all these things that I already talked about. It's like, I don't know that was the best idea. I get what you're going for, but
yeah,
maybe don't.
It kind of parallels the idea of the Children of the Watch brainwashing people like Din, and maybe even at this point brainwashing Bo-Katan. And then you have that parallel now with what the New Republic is doing. They're trying to just brainwash people into doing what they want them to do. And it's scary, but a lot of people do it.
Yeah, just the whole giving people numbers and codes I was just like, why are you doing this? This is so dumb.
Yeah. I did want to bring up, since StreamYard does show these, thanks Padfoot1979 for becoming a member of the Biggs Mega Fans. It's awesome. Thank you.
Joel Davis, thank you for the next super chat. Does anyone else find it coincidental that Pershing was talking about clone DNA mixing in the Opera House, the same one where Palpatine talked about Darth Plagueis the Wise? I sense Snoke vibes. I absolutely think that was a conscious decision to be like, they even used the Opera House music later, like I just mentioned, and they used it, at least some similar music, when they see Pershing's failed clones back in season 2. Like,
Yeah.
I think the Opera House was used on purpose.
And I love that they had it there, and then they had all the snobby, rich Coruscant people there to just be awful. And like I said earlier, like they're just parading him around so that they can all feel better about themselves and what they're doing about, reintegrating the former Imperial officers.
And that also reminded me, I'm talking about how consistent this all felt with the books. That reminded me of The Princess and the Scoundrel, when Leia and Han are on their honeymoon and they run into those people who are just like, oh, so glad the war is over.
Yeah.
Like, they don't care who won. They're just glad the war is over. Empire, New Republic, they don't give an S. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm only almost one beer in. I'll try not to swear until later, but
yeah. And
they just don't care.
There's a lot of good parts in that book. I highly recommend it if you haven't checked it out. But there's another part where is it Leia who meets someone who their son worked on the Death Star?
I think was a part of the Empire, an officer or something.
And got killed?
Yep.
And Leia was just like, I don't know what to say in this conversation. I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Oh, I mean, she's basically like to Leia, you killed my son, and I don't think Leia said something diplomatic, but she was basically like, well, maybe your son shouldn't have worked on a planet killer.
Yeah. And then they got into a fist fight. It's a great book. Read it.
I don't think that part happened. It's false advertising. No fist fight between Leia and random rich lady.
Joel Davis's next super chat says, I feel this episode showed the New Republic's first big mistake was being too forgiving and tolerant of former Imperials and not more aggressive.
Well, I mean, honestly, that's to go to the books again. I feel like the books showed the New Republic to be very idealistic, and that we're gonna forgive. We're gonna forgive and not forget, but there will be punishments. But they did forgive a lot. Like, I think it was such a rush to have the war end and to have conflict be over and be like, let's just put all that behind us, that I do think that they were too lenient on some stuff. But then to jump here and see that they're also giving out serial numbers and using mind flayers, it's like, okay, you're being too lenient and too aggressive in the wrong areas.
Yeah, maybe they're being more aggressive now to make up for the leniency, or
maybe
they want people to think they were being lenient, and actually behind the scenes they're being very aggressive.
I think that thematically fits with this episode, because a lot of it is very showy of like, look at Dr. Pershing. He was a scientist for the Empire, but now he's a scientist for us. And the reality is he's just a pencil pusher. So I think that makes sense. But I also like your idea that there was a lot of criticism for being too forgiving early on after the war. And so maybe they're trying to like buckle down now. I don't know. It's interesting. And since we know Carson Teva is in this season, we'll probably find out more.
Yeah, I like the idea that they're parading them as if, like, showing Dr. Pershing off as an example of like, yeah, he was smart, he was working on really important things, and now he's doing that for us. And then he's like, so can I continue my research? And they're like, nah.
Yeah, can I do the thing that you brought me here to do? No.
No.
That you gave a big speech about cloning, but now the droid is going to tell you that cloning is against the rules. It's like, well, what was the speech for?
But also I was like, at least try to get a second opinion from someone that's not a droid. Like, talk to an actual New Republic scientist and be like, hey, can I maybe intern with you guys? Like, that droid is going to say that no matter what.
Yeah, that's the definition of just like a default sentence. What's a
like,
form letter?
That's like giving up when you're trying to make a phone call to a company that is like nothing but pre-recorded messages. No, we're not giving up. We're going to hit every button on that
Operator.
phone
Operator.
Until a real person picks up.
Cassia Pidgeon, thank you for the next super chat. The Mind Flayer reminded me a lot of the device used on Crosshair in season 1 of the Bad Batch. Yeah, it was very similar.
Well,
could it
they
be
had
a
a
new
little
version?
Dr. Ball
In season 1
middle.
when they cranked his chip up to 11.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a good point.
Sorry, I interrupted you before you finished reading it.
Oh, no, it's okay. Oh, chipless brainwashing technology, perhaps. Yeah, maybe they developed it after what they learned from the clones. That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. Isn't it interesting that they end up killing everyone who knows anything good about cloning? Like, all the Kaminoans are gone. Dr. Pershing is maybe gone now.
Oops, lost another.
But yeah, I mean, we know kind of eventually for the first order there is such a thing as wiping their brains. Ooh, I hate that word.
I know, but that was in Star Wars Resistance. I remember when they said that in Star Wars Resistance. I was like, this is like the kid show of kid shows for Star Wars animation, and you just said the words brain scrape. No, thank you.
Ugh. But yeah, basically kind of the same thing. Like, maybe this technology exists and in fact gets more effective over time.
I can see that. I like that idea of brainless chipless brainwashing.
Yeah, because of course the Empire, or like any government trying to save a buck, is going to be like, we can't afford to put chips in all of our people, so what are our other options here?
We need wireless brainwashing. That's what Twitter is.
Of course. I think Sweet Feet Pete has the next one here. I think Bo sees the Children of the Watch as a means to end, and she might revert back to her old ways and try to kill the armorer and take control. Ooh, would she kill the armorer? Because Din treats her kind of like a mother, but I don't know, if maybe like a cool aunt. I don't get mommy vibes from her.
No. I mean, authority figure for sure, but I don't know. That's what I like about Bo, is that she is such a wild card. And yeah, the last time we saw her in Star Wars Rebels, she was on a better path than she was before. But that doesn't mean she won't revert. I mean, I think that this episode, one of the big themes was regression and going back to the way things were. Bo-Katan is like, oh, I saw a mythosaur. Maybe the old ways aren't so bad. And Pershing is like, I like the New Republic, but I do miss working for the Empire and getting to do my research and kind of going back. So I think it's possible that she might be actually into the cult, but I could also see her just regressing to the point of like, no, I'm power hungry and I will use violence to get what I want.
I think it's a mixture of both, because we talked about when she sees Din go into those waters before he falls in, it's hard to tell because she's got like her helmet on and stuff, but like she looks as if she's inspired in that moment, and she's like, wow, look at Din go, like he's really dedicated to the cause. And I remember back in my day when we followed all these rules and I was part of the royal family, blah blah blah. So I think a part of her is inspired by Din and is maybe gonna go along with it for his sake for now. But yeah, I also think she's like, okay, they're all very loyal to the cause, and if they see me on a mythosaur, then they have no other choice than to follow me.
Yeah, I agree. I think right now she's on the fence. Like, I think she is appreciative of all of these people like coming up and patting her on the back and shaking her hand and be like, hey, welcome. You are accepted here. She just lost her home.
Classic cult.
She has, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like that episode of Boy Meets World where where Sean walks in and everyone starts hugging him.
Which episode?
The season 4 finale. I forget what it's called, but Sean joins a cult accidentally, like Bo-Katan does. It's a great episode. Mr. Feeney saves the day like he always does.
Sure. Mr. Feeney is Grogu. Wise, always is helpful.
Adorable.
Adorable. No.
But yeah, that's Sweet Pea Pete. I love that Bo could kind of do anything, and I would buy it. I could see her doing whatever it takes.
Mm-hmm.
The Bricks Hub, thank you for the next super chat. I wonder if Bo-Katan's age can be explained by Gideon freezing her in carbonite after he won the Darksaber, and she's saved by Casca and Axe 5 years later. I think Molly called it, what, 2 years ago? How long has it been since season 2?
Okay, well, first of all, Katie Sackhoff talked about this on the red carpet for the premiere and said that she's probably in her 50s, like early 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Katie Sackhoff herself she just turned like 40, I think, or very early 40s, but she's not that far off. And so when this idea, when this idea of like everybody being mad about her not being old enough came up, I was like, she has the helmet on most of the time. Like, if you don't get much sun exposure, you're going to look good for a while.
Yeah. Molly called out the skincare routine day 1, and I think that's correct. And Ozma Richardson, I think Mandalorians age very gracefully because of the helmets. No sun
That's
damage.
why I slather myself in sunscreen and I walk with an umbrella every day.
Sometimes planets have 2 or 3 suns. Like, you gotta keep your helmet on. It's
oh
a
yeah, because
dangerous galaxy out there.
Every time you complain about being hot on at Galaxy's Edge, they're like, "Well, yeah, we got 3 suns," and I'm like, "Stop it! It's hot. It's just hot."
Bright suns to you, though.
Bright suns, yeah.
Nate214, thank you for the next one. Do you think we are seeing the beginnings of the First Order being born from within the New Republic with Kane and Pershing? I do think that we are seeing the beginnings of the First Order. I don't know that we're going to go the whole way with that in this series. I don't think in a couple seasons of First Order Stormtroopers going to show up. Like, that just seems way too soon to me.
Yeah. This is another Q&A question that we kind of talked about today that'll come up on Saturday.
Yeah. It just, we're only 5 years after Jedi, and in the book Bloodline, which takes place 8 years before The Force Awakens, Leia is like just hearing whisperings of what might be the First Order. It is, but it's just not like this definite thing. That doesn't mean that they aren't hiding out there, but I don't think the First Order is a thing yet. It's still like 25 years away from The Force Awakens when they are ready to announce themselves.
Yeah, I'm sure there's members of the future First Order kind of like dealing with the rumblings of that. But there's not a word for it. There's not like an official group council of it yet. They're not like, all right, guys, we have a name, but nobody knows about it for a while, so don't say it.
Like if we find out that Pershing was working towards Snoke or something, I'm like, okay, little breadcrumbs that eventually lead us to the First Order, I get, but it's way too early, in my opinion, for actual First Order stuff to happen.
I think you're onto something there.
I wanted to bring up one super chat just from our friend YHC Tower. Hey, can we get some more comparisons of Star Wars and Boy Meets World? If they come up, I will certainly do it. I love Boy Meets World.
I love that you actually remember the season numbers and the episode numbers that stuff happens, because I've seen the show several times now and I can't tell you what happens when.
Well, that's the episode Mr. Turner gets into a motorcycle accident and he goes into the hospital and then he's never seen again. Until Girl Meets World. But
yeah, I was gonna say he does come back at some point.
Yeah. Oh, he survives. They make a joke about him in season 5. Like he's alive, but
yeah,
that's his last actual appearance.
Do you want to? I don't want to lose my place. Can you scroll down and get General Overalls' super chat?
Sure. Oh, very General Overalls. Thank you so much for the very generous super chat. Completely unrelated, but if your day was rough, just search JJ Grey and Mofro Beautiful World.
So I did Google that, and it's a song I don't think I've ever heard.
Okay.
But
well, thank you, General Overalls. I'll listen to that after this. My day was not rough, but I could always use some JJ Grey. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't think our day was rough, but we have been stressed out thinking about London and like having to pack and get all of that situated. So that'll probably help us out.
That is true, yeah. It's a song we can pack to in a couple weeks, but as we get closer to London and the reality of like, oh my God, we're going to be covering a lot of stuff while we're doing that. It's going to be fun. I'm so excited for Celebration.
Same.
Speaking of, someone we're going to see at Celebration is the next super chat. If you see it.
I think I went past it. Oh, here we go.
What's up, Reef Don? And thank you for the super chat. Did Din trick Bo into joining the cult by slipping and forcing her to bathe as well? Don't forget he advised her to keep the helmet on. That I don't think Din is that smart.
No, I was gonna say that too.
It's funny that we keep saying that, and I was listening to the Last of Us podcast, and Neil Druckmann said that he kept telling Pedro Pascal that Joel is not that smart when they were filming the series, and Pedro kept saying, "Would you stop saying that?" Like he wants his characters to be smart, but he just kind of plays himbos.
Yeah.
Not saying he's a himbo. He's just a beautiful man. But I'm sure he's very smart. But a lot of his characters are just.
Well, we're gonna see the progression of him and his character arc. He's gonna get smarter, right? He's gonna learn. He's gonna get smarter, and we'll be able to go through that journey with him, and that'll be nice. And so. Yeah. Things will start to pay off.
Well, I mean, I think it's very much a part of the series to help people who haven't watched the Clone Wars or Star Wars Rebels. It's like Din Djarin gets to be the person that goes, "Is this Jedi? Like, I don't know. Is that a bench? It could be."
he is the casual audience, much like Pelly is the voice of everyone sitting on their couches saying, "Where is Grogu? And what's he doing?
Yeah. Where's my guy?" And then screams when he appears.
How can you not?
I agree. I can't make fun of you. I did the same thing. Matthew Byron has the next 2 super chats. First, is Bo-Katan joining the cult a ploy to curry favor with more Mandalorians in Din? Are her and the Armorer still on a course to conflict?
Yeah, we've talked about this quite a bit now, but I think it could be either at this point. It could be a little of both. It could be all for selfish reasons, but I think for the most part right now she's like, fine, Den seems really into this. I'm still kind of like bothered by it, but I just saw a mythosaur, so who am I to rip my helmet off in front of all these very devout people and just make them all really uncomfortable and have to leave?
I just realized, like, they did the same thing as they did last week. The last shot was Bo-Katan and the helmet, so that they have us imprinting our own feelings on her, and that's it. Like, we don't know what Katie Sackhoff's face looked like, so now all of us are going, oh boy, I don't know. Was she into the cult?
Yeah.
Was she not into the cult? In my opinion, I think she is kind of being drawn in. But some people are like, no, it's all a ploy. But it's like, we can't know because we can't see her face. And it's smart.
Yeah, that is smart. And like my only gripe about the last episode was like, I was like, what a great moment for Katie Sackhoff's character for Bo-Katan. I only wish that she could have taken her helmet off right after the fact, so we could have seen her actual facial expression right after seeing the mythosaur. But now I'm like, aha, they did this on purpose.
They know.
So that we are not quite sure where her alliances are, what she's thinking.
Also, as the more cynical business minded side of me is like, oh, also they don't have to pay Katie Sackhoff to be there as much. Because I'm
sure she'd want to.
I'm sure she would too, but she's a great actress, and it's kind of the same as the Pedro Pascal situation. It's like, if we can just have a stunt person playing this, then that's probably the more efficient route. But
hey,
I do like. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if we save a little money by having not the top billed actresses and actors in the suits all the time, we get Coruscant.
Yeah. There is that. Ozma Richardson says that Bo-Katan doesn't have a choice right now. I was like, Bo, take your helmet off. Just take it off right then and there. Like, as the armor is like, have you taken your helmet off? Be like, yes.
Please make that sound.
Like, instead of little like hissing noise that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no. It needs to be the Lego sound. I can't do it that well.
But yeah, I was like, get out of there, Bo. Like, just take your helmet off and be done with that.
We did talk about the fact that all of her friends left her because she didn't have the Darksaber, and how crappy it is that, you know, even though they take their helmets off, it's like they're still being real stingy and like picky choosy about what rules they want to follow and what rules they don't want to follow. So poor Bo-Katan was just alone, sulking, no friends, nothing to do, you know, in her sad little chair. She did add that blanket, which was nice, but she's like, okay, well, let's just see how this plays out. I'll keep my helmet on for shits and giggles for now, and then
there we go. 736 is the first one.
I tried to think of a clean way to say that.
Poodoos and ha-has.
Sure. Sure.
Duh.
You're right. I just can't think as quickly as those improv classes are paying off. Also, I feel like I got pollen in my eye or something because they're watering.
Oh.
I'm gonna go rinse my eyes out. I'll be back.
Okay. Well, I'll bring up Matthew's next super chat that says, "Did Mando and Andor share a set for Coruscant? A digital set, maybe." I get the sense that most of what we saw today was digital, and on the volume, but it did really, especially the housing. The Amnesty housing looked a lot like where Cyril Karn used to live. So it would not surprise me at all if they took inspiration from what we saw in Andor. They probably took a look at what they were doing in Andor and they were like, let's try to match it a little bit. That seems to make sense to me. How is this the almost the same question from Power Rangers Explained? Thank you so much. Did they use the same Coruscant sets for Mando 3 as Andor? Also, did they film the canyon scene in Mando 3 where Top Gun filmed its canyon scene? I mean, maybe. Again, I think that they are probably actively trying to keep things consistent. It's a good 14. It's 14 years since Andor season 1. So, they're going to change things a little bit, but I thought they did a good job when Pershing was dropped off at the Amnesty housing. I was like, yeah, this matches the Cyril Karn feel where he and his mom live. So, I think that makes sense. I don't think they use the same sets because Andor seemed to have shot on location. Like you can go to where they shot some of the Andor stuff. I don't think they did that for Mandalorian, but they may have tried to recreate it digitally. So in that sense, yeah, maybe. As for the Top Gun canyon scene, wouldn't surprise me if that was inspired as well. But I think they just wanted the canyon feel to kind of give it the trench run look of just walls speeding past, a little extra sense of danger instead of just complete open space. Zargo Dan, thank you for the next super chat. Do you think we will learn the Armorers clan is a clan we are aware of? Oh, thank you. I didn't even ask for this. And Molly still got me. She knows what I need all the time. Will we learn the Armorers clan is a clan we know of? Also, how likely is it by the end she removes her helmet? I had not thought about her removing her helmet until Adam brought it up earlier. And I like that idea. I like her accepting that there can be more than one way and that she might take her helmet off too. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but it's a nice thought.
I love that idea.
As for what clan she's a part of, I still see a lot of people speculating that she might be Rook cast. I don't buy that, but I think that there's potential for her to be a Vizsla or something. Especially, she seems pretty close with Pre-Viz or Paz Vizsla.
Polar Pop in the chat said, "What if the Armorer and Bo are sisters? What if she's Corky's mom?"
Lends credence to our Corky bombed the Kree's homestead theory.
It all comes down to Corky.
The Armorer is Bo-Katan's other sister, just trying to get her off her lazy butt. And the only way to do that is to bomb her house. She knows what motivates her sister.
I have so many ideas going through my head.
I don't know that we're gonna learn.
I already said Corky is dead and gone. This can't happen.
I think that's probably accurate. I don't know. I don't know if we're ever gonna learn more about the Armorer. She might be similar to the client of just like she is the Armorer, and that's it. That's all we need to know.
I do think it will be a gosh darn shame if we don't actually see Emily Swallow's beautiful face in this show.
I agree. She is the nicest person. I got to moderate a panel with her at Dragon Con. She was so cool. And as far as she was talking about, like that is her in the armor, even when she did that fight scene back in season 1. And that reminds me that the trailers have showed her fighting again on Navarro, and I'm like, I'm ready to see that.
Get that
Give her
hammer
those.
out, girl.
It's hammer time.
her and the time grappler need to team up somehow.
That's a ship. That's a ship if I've ever heard one.
You got so excited you had to tap your desk.
I'm just trying to think of a good name, like armor
hammer
grappler.
time.
Just hammer time.
Just hammer time.
I love that.
Because yeah, well, okay, he represents time and hammers. So
Yeah, that's true.
Armor time.
Armor time. Armor time kind of works.
This is the best idea we've ever had.
I like this ship name. This is the time.
This is the time.
The time armor. Just smash.
Smash. Love it. Love it. Okay. We got to move on, or else we'll just keep writing our fan fiction for these two.
Well, Eco Earth Venture has the next super chat. Thank you. Since episode 17, I've wondered why none of the Children of the Watch have challenged Din for the Darksaber, especially since he was an apostate.
I don't think they're. I mean, I wouldn't say they're not allowed to, but I'd say that they don't want to stray too far from the way. And like, the armorer seems to be telling them all what to do. But like, is she posing as their leader? I
think Paz Vizsla is the strongest among them. I think probably that whole covert might answer. Yeah. And I think they might look up to him. And he already did challenge Din and failed. So
got his butt whooped.
Yeah.
Not really, but yeah.
I mean, he lost.
Kind of, yeah.
So I think that maybe everyone is kind of waiting for Paz to do it, and Paz isn't going to do it because he knows he'll probably lose again and doesn't want to lose in front of an audience. He only lost in front of the armor back when it was just the 3 of them.
Yeah. She had those hammers.
Mm-hmm.
I do like wonder about all the rest of them though. I feel like they've either been in it for so long, like we see them taking in more children. So like if you're raised in this from a kid, you're gonna just follow all the rules. Or, you know, I kept thinking when Din swoops in on his N1 with Grogu and saves the day in that first episode, are they all going, the heck is this? Is this an option? Can we leave here, go get a tiny baby friend and like have a cool ship and just be cool all the time?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's unclear who all of those Mandalorians are, if they were originally from Navarro and they scattered and reconvened, or if she is gathering new Mandalorians to the cause and they don't know anything about Din. But it would be funny to be like, wait a minute now, we've been following all these rules. None of us have a fun little baby. Why don't we get a fun little baby?
I just got chills thinking about this to myself, just of a scene somewhere in the future of like each one of those Mandalorians that we see right now as part of the covert, like each one taking off their helmet and saying this is the way, when they finally realize that like this is not the way. And
what if that's like the last scene of the series and every helmet that comes off, it's like a cameo, like Brad Pitt, George Clooney.
No,
the entire cast of Ocean's 11 is there.
That would ruin the moment.
I agree.
That would ruin everything. I thought that would be a really nice scene.
What's going on here? Hey, DJ.
Oh, hi, DJ.
We're just talking about Star Wars.
And who we ship.
Hmm?
And who we ship. May or may not ship.
Hammer Time is the new ship. Time Grappler and the Armor. Please make that happen.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. Dolan has the next super chat. Thank you. How sentient do you think the mythosaur is? Is it just an animal, or can it maybe understand Mandoa?
I like this question because the history behind the mythosaur, as far as what's been told in legend, like the idea was to conquer the beast and make it extinct, right?
Yeah, that was Legends.
In Legends, that like their goal was to get rid of this species to show how powerful they were as Mandalorians. But like we know now because of Book of Boba Fett what the Rancor actually kind of thinks and feels and how it connects to the first person it sees, and it's fiercely loyal, and all of the connections between Boba Fett and the Rancor are very powerful and very important. So there's got to be more to the mythosaur.
Yeah. I think I was going to bring up the Rancors too, because they were semi-sentient in Legends, and I think that's probably right. Is that the mythosaur seems like a mythical enough creature with a name like that, that there would be some level of understanding and some kind of bond between it and whoever it allows to ride it.
Mm-hmm.
But to talk about ships a little more, we'll talk about Bad Batch briefly. This is our Mando show, but do we ship Tech and Fee after this episode? After today's episode, yes.
I can't wait to talk about it tomorrow.
I like that they kind of had Fee flirting with Tech the whole time, and he didn't really seem to respond until today. Yeah.
Wrecker points out, like, hey, you got some competition. I was like, yay. Yes, I want the two of them to go on a date. Just see what happens.
I like them too. Good old brown eyes.
Oh, so cute.
Our next super chat is from Dragonus Prime. It's you, dude. Seeing just that sheer number of TIE interceptors has activated my Thrawn watch. He's a chap who knows that he'd need that many. Yeah, I think that's a Thrawn thing.
He is a chap, first of all.
Just a chap.
Just a chap.
What makes a chap and not just a man? Saying perhaps a lot.
Someone that might know how to play a game of chess, maybe.
Oh, that's it. I'm a chap. That's all it takes.
Sure.
Just knowing the rules of chess.
Yeah.
Ron Weasley is a chap.
Yes, he is. Well, he's British. All British people are chaps.
People are chaps by default.
I don't know where I'm going with this, but yes.
Well, Dragonus agrees. I can be a chap. And I think Jeannie from Tahini might be right. Chap has sophistication.
Sure. A chap.
And sophisticated people know how to play chess.
A chap might consider buying new shoes for Star Wars Celebration so that they don't wear their old ratty ones.
Fine.
I can get how many people are watching? 693 people are in chat right now. Tell Alex to buy a pair of new shoes for Celebration. Treat himself. Treat yourself.
Need my current shoes are comfortable, if not a little bit dirty. If you're going to bring several pairs of boots, I should just give you the extra space on our luggage, and I will wear one set of shoes, and that'll be it. That'll be what I bring.
Have plenty of space. I got those compression bags. We're good. We're good.
I already said I like the shoes you sent me. I'll get some new shoes.
Okay.
I'll do it. You don't have to get chat to harass me.
We did it. Hit the like button while you're at it, guys. Thank you. I'm good at this social media stuff. Tycho Murner, thank you for the next super chat. Did you catch the carnival style resistance theme playing at the mountain peaks? It was crazy hearing it in a major key and almost joke-like in nature. It did sound odd.
It took me a second because I was like, I know this music, and I had to sit there and think of it. I was like, okay, it's the resistance theme, which I like that. I also think the music playing during the Mind Flayer stuff, I believe that was Jabba's palace music. I need to listen to it again, but it was like a more chill version of not Jedi Rocks, not that, and not Lopty Neck. It's like when 3PO and R2 are first coming in to Jabba's palace. I think that was the same music.
Interesting. That's creepy. That's way more creepy. Oh, okay. I know the music you're talking about now because I said in our reaction, "Whoa, creepy music."
Uh-huh.
Weird. I don't like
It was
that.
weird. But yeah, I did like the use of an in-universe resistance march. Joel Davis, thank you for the next super chat. I've seen some criticism that while it feels like Andor, it's all a bit too surface level and lacks the depth that Andor gave those moments.
I love that people are comparing this show to Andor now just because we got some Coruscant stuff and we got some like deep, kind of deeper stuff that isn't
And political intrigue, I would say.
Sure, but like we've always had the deep stuff in Mando, and just because we went to Coruscant, people are like, "Aha! Guess Mandalorian is learning from Andor now." Like,
yeah,
come on.
like they planned this, or like Andor came out months ago and they were like, "Quick, scramble, redo everything we just did." Like,
Now, I will say that if they ever do end up doing Rangers of the New Republic, they might take a few lessons from Andor and see how well received it was and maybe like really dive into some of that stuff, but that's neither here nor there.
yeah, I mean, no, I didn't have those thoughts at all. I was just enjoying the cloak and dagger element of things. I've never thought that the Mandalorian lacked depth. I think that people, because it is a more action oriented show, I think people just kind of enjoyed it but wrote it off. And then Andor came out, and I mean, Andor was meant to be very deep, and it was meant to very obviously explore real world things. But Star Wars has always explored real world things, and I think people just sometimes don't always recognize that. I mean, it's the people that go, "Oh, keep this politics out of my Star Wars." It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's always been there. You just got to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, if someone just realized that, like, wait a minute, this Andor show is awfully political. It's like it's saying the same stuff. They're just kind of like putting it in your face and making you not look away from it.
Indeed.
So I don't think it's too surface level. I think they just used different tools to say similar things. And
Yeah.
I do think that like that one scene with the rich Coruscant people, that felt a little more lighthearted and goofy because the Mon Calamari was there, but like it's the same thing. And it did stuff that Andor did not, where they're laughing about, oh, the state of the Outer Rim, how terrible for them. We'll laugh about it. It's like they're having a tough time. You don't need to laugh at them. That's something that they didn't really do in Andor. I'm just saying, like they are still able to explore new things.
Yeah. I was gonna read the next couple of super chats here. We've got from Ice. Thank
Okay.
you so much, Ice. Really good episode. It didn't go the way I thought, but it was an interesting change of pace, and I enjoyed it overall. Definitely an intriguing one. Let me scroll down here. I'm 50-50 on some developments. I don't like that Bo-Katan is keeping the mythosaur to herself. That does concern me a bit, but maybe she's still processing what she saw. It was an interesting move. I kind of assumed she was going to do that, but just because she needs to gather her thoughts, right?
I think that's a potential thing to bring up where we kept on asking, or we were saying, oh, Bo-Katan, you're being awfully obvious, asking Din over and over if he saw something. But maybe she was like, seriously, though, did you see anything? Like, maybe she is wondering if she imagined it.
Yeah. Ice goes on to say, I hope this isn't the beginning of something devious on her part and it doesn't turn into a villain arc for her. I want to see her continue on the path of atoning for her time on Death Watch. Yeah, still haven't heard much about that. I was really hoping to see Bo-Katan's face after seeing the mythosaur, but I am intrigued that they found a way to work that into the story. That was an unexpected twist, and I appreciate that. I totally agree. I think I just said that a few minutes ago that I really wanted to see her face, but now I kind of understand why they did that. Yeah, I kept thinking before we got into this season, there was a lot of talk of like, is Bo-Katan going to be a villain? Is she? It looks like she might be helping Din and helping Grogu, but is she going to turn on them? And definitely, I figured after the last episode, chapter 18, I was like, oh, she's on their side. Like, she wants to help. Now I don't know.
I think she's such a compelling character because she's kind of done all of it morality wise, and we don't know where she's going to head next. My hope, I agree. I hope it's not a villain turn. I don't think they're going to do that. Like she might be tempted, but if she is, she's going to come back. I don't think they're going to show her be like she was in Star Wars Rebels, which was good. She was a good person. And then she might throw all that away for a little bit, but I think she'll come back. I just don't see them letting her be evil now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw how hungry she was before for the Darksaber and how badly she wanted to get it back from Gideon. But now that she knows that a mythosaur exists, that's like 1,000 steps above having access to the Darksaber. So now she's probably like rethinking everything. And those feelings of greed and wanting to rule the proper traditional way are starting to bubble back up. And she's starting to think maybe there is something there.
Yeah. I can see that.
Good stuff. Oh, we're getting to the juicy stuff.
But it's not deep enough, said some people. Not honestly, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter complaining about people complaining, and I haven't seen the actual complaints. I haven't seen anyone call this filler. I haven't seen anyone comparing it to Andor poorly, be like it's too surface level. I've only seen people talking about it, and I'm like, I have curated my Twitter well.
Yeah, we've blocked and muted all the right people, I think.
Joel Davis has the next super chat. Thank you, Joel. I think this clone stuff leads to Snoke, since if we follow the Rise of Skywalker novel, Palpatine is already in his decaying clone body on Exegol. Yeah, that would not surprise me. It reminded me of the Dathan stuff from Shadow of the Sith as well. Rey's father, like the non-force sensitive Palpatine clone that was also not genetically identical. It's like a clone in the loosest sense, but that kind of makes sense that they're trying to combine Palpatine and like for whatever, I guess you can't make a clone of a person is just like, boom, automatically force sensitive. So they're trying to combine that DNA with Grogu. I don't know. Like, I could see it working.
Yeah, the clone stuff will be interesting if they get into that more. But now, who knows what's going to happen with Dr. Pershing?
Well, it's like, I wonder if they need him anymore. I guess we don't know. Or maybe they just feel like they can't trust him.
I mean, he really wanted to get back to his research, so he seemed like a good, loyal scientist for them.
Yeah. But he also I do think he was on board with the New Republic. I think he was misguided. I think he was wrong every time he was like looking in the mirror going, you're doing this for the New Republic. It's like, okay, no, Pershing.
If you
Stop.
have to do that in the first place, then you're questioning that you're doing the right thing.
If you're ever looking at yourself in the mirror going like you're doing the right thing, you're probably not.
Andrew Beardman has the next super chat here. I specifically took note that she introduced herself as comms officer, which was her Imperial position, and his scientist was civilian/current.
Would he not be an Imperial scientist too, though? I don't know what his rank would have been, his official title. Like, Galen Erso was an Imperial engineer.
I think they're still kind of just wondering if they're giving themselves the right titles, because now they just have numbers.
Well, it's like comms officer was her cast listing. That was her character name for a while in The Mandalorian. So I wonder if she was introducing herself to him as if they were still on the ship, because she was apologizing for not ever doing that. But it is interesting that like she's not a comms officer now, or at least we should think that. So I think Andrew is still right that she introduced herself as her Imperial position, which she no longer is. We don't know what she's doing anymore, but that was so. I think that's a fun tell.
Yeah. I still wanted them to be besties, though. Kind of bummed.
Maybe she'll come around. Maybe Elia Kane will eventually be a good guy.
See the
Who
light?
knows?
I don't know after that last scene. Yikes.
Yeah, it was rough. That was rough. Eating a cookie, just torturing her new bestie.
Yeah. Jeff GL of 2814, thank you so much for the next super chat. I thought of the numbers instead of names as a form of witness protection program. The only good Imperial is a dead Imperial was not an uncommon phrase during the time of the rebellion. Interesting take.
If that's
see it.
If that's what it was, then I think they should have specified that. The fact that all of the Imperials introduced themselves as letters and numbers, to me, is like, that's a bad sign. Like, they're in the same mode. I get what you're saying, but
it's punishment for treating all the clone troopers like garbage.
Yeah. But if that were the case, if it were witness protection, like didn't even the dude, the New Republic officer in the little cubicle station, he still called Dr. Pershing by his number, I think.
Yeah.
I've only seen the episode twice. I can't remember. But it's like it did not seem like it was all that helpful in context. But I do see what you're saying, that it's like we're trying to hide the names of the super war criminals or something.
Yeah. I could see that. Maybe it's a little bit of both. It's kind of like the convent right now. We're not quite sure like where they're headed next, where their loyalties lie. It's all very up in the air.
Yeah. I need to run to the restroom, but I want to answer the next super chat first.
Okay.
from I'm the Stein. Clone Luke incoming win? I hope not. If there's one thing they need to abandon from the Heir to the Empire trilogy, it's Luke.
Luke.
It's silly. I thought it was silly in 5th grade.
Yeah, I could just see 5th grade Alex being like, what is this garbage?
No, I didn't do that. I was just like, I think it was more the Luke part of it.
Sure.
But yeah, I don't want to go too heavy with the clones. We already had a whole clone army. We're obviously doing something with clones now, but I don't need LWU. Yeah, W.
W, not
Okay.
the double, not the letter W.
It's confusing. But W is the letter W.
Did you need to go somewhere?
I need to go to the bathroom.
All right, go do that.
You just go away.
Pulling us off track here. The only way we're getting clone Luke is if we get a story post episode 9 where Mara Jade was frozen in carbonite for a bunch of time and she comes back and she works with Rey, and then turns out clone Luke was also frozen in carbonite for that long, and he comes after the both of them as an enemy, and they team up together. Thoughts? No, that's silly. No, I don't think we're getting a clone Luke. Actually, we kind of already have a clone Luke. It's the CGI Luke that we're going to get in every other episode that he shows up in. That's clone Luke. I'll go ahead and read this next super chat from Kyle Ruse. Thank you, Kyle. From last week's episode that no one seemed to notice, R5 was shown going into the N1 from underneath, but his droid port is straight above the engine underneath the N1, but came out from the tail of the N1. Interesting. So, yeah, I don't think I paid too much attention to where R5 went in and out, but I will say that in the prequels, I know they were like, George, the N1s are way too long to be able to fit in this corridor, and he's like, doesn't matter, I don't care, just make it work. So I think it's probably the same case here. Did you pay attention to where R5 was going in and coming out of the N1? You're muted.
No, my answer is no. R5 was showing going into the N1 from underneath, but his droid port is straight above the engine. Underneath the... No, I don't know any of this. And
I'm
to
just
me,
going to
this is...
assume it's because Mando was like, he's not going to fit. He's too big. And so they took him apart and he went in and out different places.
To me, whatever this is, it's the same reason that R2-D2 literally would not fit in an Eta 2 Actus class interceptor. Like, he is too long. And George Lucas didn't care. He was like, put him in the wing, and if only his dome is showing, I do not care. It's like, even Anakin wouldn't fit in that ship. The behind the scenes photos are like his legs just shooting out of the bottom.
I said the same thing about the N1s not fitting in the hangar. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't
exactly
matter.
That.
The N1s were a cool design, but that tail is not fitting in any hangar very, very well.
I love all of the stories of the people who make the trench and are doing the visual effects, or they make the digital hangar, and they're like, George, it's physically impossible for X-Wings to move this fast. And he's like, I don't care. Do it. And people like
I
George,
want to go fast.
the N1 tails stick through the hangar wall. We have to make it bigger. He's like, nope, don't. I don't care. Are we going to see the tails hitting the hangar wall? No. Then who cares? Like, George doesn't.
And that's why he's a genius. It's just like, it doesn't matter. It's gotta look cool.
Yeah, he rule of cool above all. That is Star Wars.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Okay,
That should be
we can
our
do that.
celebration
We
t-shirt.
can do that. That's easy. Viking Kicker, thank you for the next super chat. Grogu almost saying, "This is the way," right after hearing Bo and Din say it was surprising. Also, I love hearing y'all's perspective on these. Thank you, Viking.
See, I took that as him being like, stop saying that it's stupid.
No, I think he was trying to be a part of the crew. He's
Mm.
like, everyone else is saying it, I'm going to say it.
It's kind of 50-50 for me. I could believe either one, and either one is cute. So it all counts.
I think he tried to say it. Joel Davis has the next one. Thank you, Joel. Do you think we'll ever find out how Thrawn, Gideon, Palpatine, and the First Order all factor in or don't with each other? I need to know. I don't know if we're going to find out in this series. Like, I don't know how much Jon Favreau knows, but it is a mess right now.
I mean, I could see maybe like I'm talking series finale of The Mandalorian, end of the series, no more Mandalorian is being made. There's probably a ton of other spinoffs, but I could see whoever the big bad is at the very end of this show, them very, very generally alluding to whoever the next big bad is, like just basically very loosely connecting it.
I kind of think that this series is about the Imperial remnant. And yeah, some of the Empire went off to the unknown regions to become the First Order. I think that's way, way down the line. So I think we're dealing with warlords, like Bo-Katan said. Gideon would be one of them. Thrawn is probably the end of that. I think that we will be done, quote, done with the Empire as we knew it in the Galactic Civil War at the end of this season or series. But First Order, I think, is a different faction that is not involved in this. But I might be wrong, because Dr. Pershing and everything he is doing seems like it could very well be.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to get Thrawn soon. We're probably going to hear what Gideon's up to soon. Palpatine's going to be a minute, I think. I don't know if they'll bring up Snoke anytime soon, but I mean, that's kind of what the cloning might be for Palpatine and for Snoke. I don't know. We need Snoke in a jar somewhere.
Okay, we have 4 incoming from Ice. Thank you so much, Ice. And I'm going to read them all here. I actually thought we saw Kane die at the end of season 2. There's a shot of what looks like her killed on the bridge. So I was like, how is she alive now? I don't think that's the case, because I just did a rewatch and I looked hard for a shot of Kane dying or dead Kane. I didn't see anything. But, even if she got shot, she could have survived. They could have stuck her in some Bacta and then been like, hey, do you want to be a part of the amnesty program?
You want to be a secret agent?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To continue on, I said it wasn't a big deal, though. It didn't take away from the story. Sometimes you just notice something and it makes your nerdy brain go, wait a minute. Yeah, that's also the case, is that they might not have known that they wanted her. The same reason George Lucas cut Darth Maul in half. He didn't know he wanted to tell more stories with Darth Maul. And then someday he did.
And then he was like, wait a second, Darth Maul is Sisyphus. I have more to say.
Isis, next one says, I really enjoyed the constant tug of war with Kane this episode. From the get-go, I didn't trust her, but as it went on, I wanted her to be on Pershing's side, but my gut instinct was right in the end. And the next one continues on. There were moments like at the mountain peak where she punks him into getting busted, where I still didn't trust her, but I wanted her to be genuine. Oh, I thought she was very smart with the way that she slowly, gently pushed him into that kind of thing. And the mountain, that was absolutely on purpose. Just like, come on, Doc, live a little, break the
She was being
rule.
playful. Like that was exactly who he needed in that moment. He needed a friend who was willing to be friendly and be playful and make him feel at ease.
It served his purposes and also served the audience to show, and her to be like, if I push him to break the law, will he do it? Like, and it wasn't something that he knew was wrong. He was like, oh, am I allowed to? And she's like, who cares? Just try it. Like, to her, that's a sign that, okay, I can push him to do a little more and a little more.
She also kind of made him think that she'd done this before several times even. So he kind of found comfort in that. Like, she knew
Wait,
exactly
are we talking about touching the mountain or?
Oh, no, I was talking about the train.
Okay, that too. But I think that builds off of the mountain.
Yeah.
Of just building trust, like you said.
She's just a smart lady.
Yeah. I thought she handled it great. And the whole time I was like, especially, I was on the fence until they jumped off the train, which I was like, hold on, what? And then they jumped off at the perfect time and landed on a crash pad. And it's like, okay, Pershing, like, open your eyes.
Is that not an Indiana Jones moment?
Yeah, but she knew when to jump to land on the safe, like, soft pad.
I'm saying that's something that Indy would do. He would just know when to jump off of a train into a soft pad.
To me, that's suspicious. In this moment, to me, it was suspicious. I don't think Indy would know when to jump off of the train. He would just jump and hope for the best.
And he would just jump into a factory of pillows, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, convenient.
I'm making this up as I go.
Yes, thank you so much, Ice, for your thoughts. We really do appreciate those. And then Eric has this next super chat here. Great episode for me. And it feels like they were building to something big, but legit cackled at the mall version of March of the Resistance at the carnival. Yeah, it's crazy that I didn't realize what it was at first. And then I went back and listened to it. I was like, oh, yeah, it is kind of a weird, wacky version of it.
They do that a lot in this series. And this, I think, was meant to be in universe, like diegetic, whatever, that they heard it at the fair. Kind of like when we hear the happy version of the Imperial March in Solo. But they also will take an episode in chapter 4, when we go to Sorgan for the first time, there's like a Renaissance fair version of just the Mandalorian theme where it's played on like a pan flute. It's just like doo, 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 doo. And
Yeah.
they like to do that.
Comforting and just fun.
Sweet Feet Pete, thank you for the next super chat. I kind of see Bo as a Daenerys type character, someone who wants to do good, but the closer to her goal she gets, the more she loses herself.
Ooh, this is
that's scary.
This is a hot topic for me because I didn't read the books. I won't go too far into this. I didn't read the Game of Thrones books. I loved Daenerys' character, and I was devastated by where she ended up in the end of that series. So it makes me very sad to think that Bo-Katan would have a similar fate.
Yeah, same.
I can't do that.
As a Game of Thrones book reader, I also did not see that coming. So
Yeah. So I can see the similarities, but oof, that would break me if they
It
did
just it doesn't seem like a I don't want to say that. I don't want to say like Star Wars can't do that. I was going to say it doesn't seem like a thing Star Wars would do, but it is a very mythological story. So it's just something I don't want to happen to Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
And because they sent her on a pretty good path in Star Wars Rebels, I think that ultimately she will end on a good path as well. Like I don't want her story to be part of Death Watch, good person, bad person again. That would just be sad.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll just have to see. It's all very much up in the air right now. Home Run Production, thank you for the next super chat here. On the off chance Duchess Satine will show up, who would you cast? I mean, I've always thought of her as like a Cate Blanchett type, but if they had to go a lot younger, ooh, maybe Hunter Schafer. Is that how you say their name?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't
They
know who
were
you're talking
in
about.
Euphoria.
Was she in White Lotus too?
Hold on. Doing some Googling.
Oh wait. Oh, I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, because
Cate Blanchett is like
she would be a good age for like a young
for like a
Duchess
super
Satine.
young flashback. Cate Blanchett, I think, is the popular casting choice.
This character.
Yeah, okay. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, I would love that.
If they went way back to pre-Clone Wars, yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean,
and that seems like a. Go ahead.
I see Fernanda in the chat said Anya Taylor-Joy, also a very good pick.
Well, if we're being realistic, I think Cate Blanchett and probably Anya Taylor-Joy are doing a lot of films. But what Hunter Schafer, is that their name?
Mm-hmm.
They actually might be some that they were in an HBO series. I think they might be more open to television. So that actually seems like a realistic casting choice.
Oh, yeah. And so, okay, I had to look it up because I wasn't sure of her pronouns. She goes by she, they. She is a transgender woman. So I would love for them to bring her into the mix and cast her, even though like we would know that Satine would be kind of a once or twice showing up in this series, but maybe she could show up in another series later down the line. But that would be such a good casting. I'm never good at casting people, and I think I nailed it.
You nailed one. Yeah, I feel the same way. Anytime someone's like, "Who would you cast as X?" I'm like, I don't know. Whoever the popular fan casting is. Usually, I see someone else say, "Cate Blanchett should do it," and I'd be like, "Yeah, that sounds good." But I'm not good at it. I'm just not creative enough with my castings.
I was just like thinking, who's the most like perfect looking, gorgeous, very, very blonde actress that I could think of. And I just saw pictures of her at an Oscar party recently. So I was like, yeah, okay, yeah. Anyways, make it happen, Star Wars.
I'm excited for the next super chat. I think we should both attempt to read it.
Okay.
From Babbles the Clown.
Together?
Back when we were talking about Boy Meets World. Okay. I think we just got to do our best Feeny call.
Together?
Sure. I mean, it's going to be out of sync.
Why don't we each do our own Feeny call?
Feeny! Feeny!
That's good. I think I can do it better. I'm not gonna blow out the mic.
All right.
Feeny.
Oh, I did the one. Okay, we did different ones.
I did the
I did
one
the
that
one.
they sent in as the super chat.
Okay, well, I did the one where he like kind of does a little dance up to him. Fini. Oh, we gotta watch Boy Meets World again. So
Andy in the chat said, "What is happening?" If you've
Andy,
never seen
watch
Boy
it.
Meets World,
It's
go
on
watch
Disney Plus. Go watch Boy Meets World.
sorry, we just had to. I didn't watch Boy Meets World until I was older, and I was already dating Alex. So this is like a fun inside joke for me.
I watched Boy Meets World growing up. I loved it. That was like my, I want to say soap opera. It was a coming of age show, and I really liked it. And then we watched it as adults, and I was like, man, this really does hold up, in my opinion. But yeah. We've got 2 in a row here from Darth Nicholas. So I'll go ahead and read this one. The mention of Tongs Day got me going like Coruscanta, Aden, me Vode, An. Easy to forget that Coruscant was the original homeworld of the Mandalorians and Legends, at least. Okay, I'm going to assume that's Mandoa, that I don't know. But yes, Tongs Day is in reference to the Tong who fought against the Gel on Coruscant, and the Gel defeated them, and then the Tongs went on to become the Mandalorian people.
History repeats itself.
And Nicholas's next one, thank you, Nicholas, says, considering that this episode basically confirmed the canonicity of the Tongs, would it be fair to assume that the canonical Mandalore the Great mentioned before was also Tong? I would say no. Just because it said Tongs Day, to me, that doesn't say the Tongs as we know them from Legends are canon. I think it was just a fun nod.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna take anything. It's a word that I recognized, but I'm not gonna assume that word means the same thing. But I also don't know if they might not even bother to go that far into Mandalorian history, so maybe.
Yeah, it's hard to say at this point because they're kind of picking and choosing what they want to show for the story, which is fine. That's what we need. And I don't know if they end up showing the canon Mandalore, I don't think it's going to be a non-human species. But
I don't know. I think it's way too far in the past for them to cover. Like, I think they're just going to treat it as a creed right now.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it was in Legends as well. So.
True. David Livingston has the next one here. Thoughts on the armorer being a Mandalorian with her spikes, and 2, Bo being surrounded by a cult and not taking off her helmet is survival. Yeah, I said it earlier. Like, I don't think they would have all attacked her, but they would have all been like, okay, get out.
Yeah.
You're not taking our thing seriously. Like, we don't like you anymore.
But I think she would have known that, and she had her ship. She could have left. And I was kind of like, just do that, Bo.
But all
just
of
do
her
that.
friends are gone, and she's looking for new friends, so she's open to it.
Okay, but the first part of this super chat, this is the new Zillow Beast, I think. We had that question on our recent Q&A, and I said Rod of the Hutt was the new thing that people ask about. But the armorer being a Mandalorian is something that gets brought up probably once a week. And it's like, maybe she's got spikes on her helmet. Could be. Dave Filoni is involved. I could see that being the truth, but we don't know what the answer is. I would love to get something definitive about her identity. Just tell us it's Rook cast, and we can be like, yes, there we go. That's why she has horns on her helmet.
Yeah. I would be shocked if they brought Maul up in all of this, but at the same time, I wouldn't be, because it would be fun. It would be someone that would bring a lot of attention, just like Luke. But they would have to recast him, and
I mean, they don't have to show him.
No. Well, I guess not. But you don't want the casual people to be like, "Who? Isn't he dead?"
I think, yeah, that's true. That's fair.
Because everyone that we went to see Solo with, all of our casual friends, they were like, "Why is he there? He's dead, isn't he?"
Either that, or they were like, "Does this take place before the Phantom Menace?" Like, no, he survived getting cut in half, and they're like, "What?"
Yeah, it gets complicated.
Sir Sits a Lot. Thank you for the next super chat. Would you want to see Anna Graves play a live action version of Satine in a flashback? That name sounds familiar. I have to Google it.
Anna Graves is... I know her from something. Oh, a voice actress? Maybe I don't know her. She's a voice actress that has done Clone Wars stuff.
I know this name. I'm trying to see what I've specifically seen her from. Oh, Anna Graves is the voice of Satine. Brr.
Oh, okay. We should have put that together earlier.
And honestly, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they're gonna follow the lead of Last of Us, then why not? Especially if it's a very short time role.
I mean, I think she could pull off Satine. I feel so dumb right now. Like that. I know I've heard that name before. Where have I heard that name? Mark Hamill. I can't remember.
Well, we can't be expected to know everything. We're not called Star Wars Explained.
I just rattled off the history of Tongs Day. I couldn't remember who voiced Satine, but I'm not in the Schmodown anymore, so who cares?
Star Wars knows it sometimes. Wait, what is it?
But
Star Wars sometimes knows it.
Star Wars kind of knows it.
Kind of knows it.
Yeah.
That's the real title of our channel.
But yes, I think Anna Graves would crush it. The end.
The end. 000 Tragic Solitude. Ooh. Thank you for the next super chat. Which covert background Mando is your favorite? I want to know where that little kid is from, but also that white helmet looked interesting.
Honestly, I am intrigued by the orange helmet behind white helmet. That's like, what is that? I'm trying to find a good picture of them. Oh, it's so dark. Oh, okay. Well, this one just caught my eye. Not that I can bring it up quickly, but there's a Mandalorian that looks like he has shore trooper armor on, like just on his shoulder.
Like just the color, or it looks
like shore trooper armor. I'll see if I can get it.
I don't know that we're going to find anything out about a lot of the background Mando characters, but
oh no, it's just like which design do you think looks cool? Oh, that image is so dark.
Yeah, I can't see.
but the one kind of in the foreground on the right.
I see.
I like it. I like his look.
Yeah.
I like the cut of his jib.
I want to know if that kid is related to Paz Vizsla, if that theory was right, or if they just like found him.
Oh yeah, we didn't see him this episode, did we?
Yeah, where's the kid at?
I don't know.
Nap time, I assume. Is he too old for nap time? I don't know how kids work.
Mandalorian children always get juice and cookies, and they have a nap.
Just like Grogu.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for another super chat. Even though part of me thinks this episode would fit a little better in a New Republic anthology series, like maybe Rangers of the New Republic, this has been my favorite Mando Season 3 episode yet, partly because Andor remains my favorite Star Wars show. And the next one from Darth Nicholas is relevant, so I'll read that one as well. I was so wrong in assuming last week that all of the last Bad Batch episodes would be better than each Mando episode released the same week. This is the first week I preferred a Mando season 3 episode to a Bad Batch ep. You know what? I'm gonna be the hot take this time. I think I liked this Bad Batch episode more. I really like Pabu.
I agree.
The past two, look, Outpost was hard. That was, but the Mythosaur was so cool. That I think I prefer Mandalorian last week, but there's something about Pabu and just the peacefulness of it all. It really spoke to me.
It's so rare in a show like Bad Batch to see everyone thriving, having a good time, enjoying themselves, not in immediate danger, which does eventually happen. Spoilers in that episode, but it's like nothing too. Well, I shouldn't say nothing too terrible happens, because like a lot of Pabu gets destroyed in a massive tidal wave, but our main characters get a taste of the normal life, and we'll go into all of this tomorrow in tomorrow's stream.
Our friend Darius is just like, I gotta finish it. I have it on pause. It popped in at the wrong time, Darius.
Oh no. Never forget what I said.
No, it's fine. It's
but yeah, I just loved that episode. It's so heartwarming to finally see some good happen, and to see our heroes get a taste of what life could be like when they're not on the run constantly and working for someone as shitty as Sid.
Which I think is exactly the point. Like that is because we know it's not going to last. We know the even in the episode, it's like, oh, what a peaceful place. Oh God, it got messed up. But like that, they have this place they could settle down at, and now we know what they're gonna sacrifice when they have to go back. Like, I assume because of Crosshair and what happened in the Outpost, but it's going to make their decision that much more impactful. And just seeing them get to hang out and chill, and I got a little teary-eyed when they were climbing up that ladder and the mayor almost falls and Wrecker grabs him, and then Wrecker almost falls, and all these strangers grab him and pull him to safety. I'm like, oh, it's just a nice episode. Really like it.
All right, that is tomorrow's stream.
Mm-hmm.
As I do want to acknowledge that I agree with you. I think this week's Bad Batch episode just made me feel happier a little bit. Like, it made me, I don't know, it was a little bit more entertaining. I loved the Mando episode. I think it sets up some really, really good, juicy stuff. But we'll talk about the Bad Batch tomorrow.
Agree.
I forget where we were.
Alphonse Collado has the next super chat. Thank you. Hey guys, today's episode was great. I found it so crazy that Kane used the same Imperial stepping on top of each other methods to move up in the New Republic. I don't think she's actually part of the New Republic.
Yeah, we don't know about her yet.
I think that if she were, she wouldn't have fried his brain at the end. I think that there is more to that. She took those supplies she needed, walked away to who knows where. I don't know where those supplies went.
They went in her pocket.
Mm-hmm. She had a bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to find out, because I love the setup for her character here.
I do too.
This next one, Allie Whoops, which I love that name, by the way. Thank you for the super chat. Do we know anything about the third Kryze sibling? Well, now we think it's the armorer.
We threw that out earlier. I don't think that's actually the case.
I'm kidding.
You can believe that.
No, I don't think, but was there one? It's like certainly.
Well, Satine, okay, we know Satine had a nephew, Corky. It's her nephew. It's not Obi-Wan's son. I'm sorry, everyone.
Was he ever called a nephew?
Yes.
Okay, but like I realized that everyone on TikTok told us nephew, oh that's cute.
Uh-huh.
It's
I mean,
actually
it's a fun fan theory, and I think it's mostly a tongue-in-cheek thing. Some people are very passionate about it and are like, no,
everyone
that's
on
Obi.
TikTok seemed very passionate about
All
it.
right. Well, they can be passionately wrong. Whatever.
Sure.
It's not Obi-Wan's son. I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to crush dreams here, but it's not. It just
that's not in his character arc.
They
Period.
literally changed the character model of Corky so he wouldn't resemble Obi-Wan as closely because they were like, nope.
Yeah.
It's one of those theories that I'm like, it's fun. It's not true, but it's fun. So I think that there must be another brother or sister in the Kryze family. It's possible.
Maybe.
It's very lightly possible that Corky is Bo-Katan's son, but I don't think that's true because he did not act like her son in the Clone Wars series.
Maybe there was another sibling that didn't want anything to do with the royal family, had kids, and then Corky eventually got to the age where they gave him a choice to be involved, and he chose yes. So, I don't know.
Doomslayer, I did a whole video on this. Go watch that. I don't want to get into it again, but it's not that.
It's not the Lucasfilm / Disney is not going to allow Obi-Wan Kenobi to
especially George Lucas.
Yeah.
Like
to have a son that no one knows about, and his name is Corky.
So that's like when people when Rian Johnson's trilogy got announced, and who knows if that's happening, but everyone's like, do you think it'll be about Broom Boy? And I was like, do I think the next Star Wars trilogy is going to star a person named Tamiri Blag? I do not.
Look, Tamiri is a nice name. Blag is a little less nice. The two together, yeah, it's just a kind of goes downhill. I don't know. Anyways, we got to move on. We're going to get way behind. Dragonus Prime, thank you so much for the next super chat. Officially getting the Get Alex Proper Chap Shoes fun. That's true. If you're a proper chap, you have nice shoes.
I'll get some new shoes. God, I already said I would.
We did it. Thank you, everyone. Daryl Cooper with the next super chat here. I don't think Coruscant was ever referenced as the capital in this episode, so can we assume that it is Chandrila or Hosnian Prime?
I think so. You're right. It never said Coruscant is the capital of the New Republic. Like, I think people who don't know that the capital shifted around could assume that it was, but I'm happy to think that it was elsewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Probably Hosnian Prime.
I'm sorry. I know we got to keep moving on, but I really enjoying judging protagonist potential by how goofy the name is. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Biggs Darklighter, come on. Who am I kidding? That's an awesome name.
That's a cool name. And he's still dead.
Damn it.
I apologize, Recovery Hacker. The StreamYard doesn't send through emojis or anything, so
I think they actually sent in $1 to give me some new shoes.
Haha, yay!
My shoes are fine.
They're dirty.
You're all falling for Molly's trickery.
You know who bought you your last pair of shoes? The ones that are dirty right now?
You.
I did. And I'm telling you, it's time for new ones.
Hmm.
If you're only gonna
I'll wear those shoes until they fall off my feet, madam.
If you're only gonna bring one pair of shoes to Celebration, at least bring a clean pair, a nice new pair. Come on. You have time to wear them in. Anyways. Okay. David Livingston, thank you for the super chat. With all the Mandalorians in different colors, do you think they'll get into the meanings of those colors? Is that still canon? I would love to see the Armorer's little minis paint station. Right? She's got all the paint colors. She's got her little airbrush kit. I just want to see that. I don't know what the colors mean.
Let's see. Are the colors still canon? I doubt it. I think they're just kind of stylistic, whatever. Especially, I don't know if this is the case, but I kind of wonder if they invited a few Mandalorian mercs to be the covert. I just because they did that for the 501st in season 1, I think that would be cool if it was just like, hey, we need some random armor to fill out this covert, so come on down. I don't think they're gonna canonize the colors. What?
I agree. Just
why are you just laughing?
I'm laughing at chat. Still talking about shoes. I'm sorry I brought that up.
Alex seems like, why are they talking about my shoe size?
Not shoe size. Just the fact that came back up. Oh, it's like a size 10. Okay, well, we don't have to get into that because Alex knows how to buy his own shoes, I assume.
Oh, is this what you're laughing at?
That plus any of the other
the answer is yes.
Yes,
like,
I help.
Every time you go to Target, you're like, hey, I found a new Star Wars shirt. I'm like, add it to the pile.
But also, like, if you ever need new clothes, I go with you as advisor.
Yeah, obviously.
That's to be expected, I think.
I want you to like what I'm wearing because I don't care. I'll wear a comfortable garbage sack.
Oh, God. All right. I lost my spot again. Where are we at?
I think we're there's another 2 from Darth Nicholas that we can read here. Okay. First is it just me, or did the ominous Snoke theme in this episode sound like the Mon Calamari opera song that plays in episode 3 when Palpatine tells Anakin the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? It's not just you. That's what it was, I think.
Yeah, the one that's again,
yeah. And they played it in season 2, episode 4 of The Mandalorian as well, when we saw the failed clones.
Yeah, the creepy jarred people.
Yep. The jar people. Yeah.
Yikes.
But yes, I think you are correct. And the second one says, do you think Mandalore the Great is the canon stand-in for Mandalore the Indomitable or Mandalore the Ultimate, who claims the former's helmet in Tales of the Jedi and also appears in the KOTOR comics, or is simply a new character? I think it's a new character, specifically because they didn't want to repeat a name that already existed. I don't think they are...
I don't know what any of that is, so I trust your judgment.
I don't think Lucasfilm is ever trying to actively overwrite stuff unless they have to. So when they were like, we need to name a Mandalore. And honestly, Great seemed like one that should have been used. but I think they went with Great. Just to keep it clean, not mess with anything that anyone already knew, potentially.
Keeping it clean.
I don't think that Mandalore the Great is meant to replace any of these other people.
I'm trying to figure out where we are. Are we at David's next super chat?
Garth McMurray, didn't you just read that one?
Oh.
Garth McMurray says, thank you, Garth. What if Bo-Katan rips off the armor's helmet while she's asleep and forces her to go to Mandalore to bathe in the living waters and see the Mythosaur? I don't think Bo-Katan wants to let that secret out.
No, the less people that know about that, the better, because
especially not the armor.
If a bunch of people found out that that was real, they would all be headed there at the same time, and then what would we have? Another destroyed Mandalore.
It can't be destroyed anymore. It's already destroyed.
It's in pretty bad shape, and they would just turn it into a giant crater. Yeah, I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah, I don't think she's gonna let the armor in on that secret.
I hope not. She didn't do any work to figure that out.
Jane Dalton, thank you for the next one. Now that we've seen a little more of how the New Republic treated former Imperials, how would you like to see former First Order members be treated by the newer Republic going forward?
Oh boy.
It depends on their role. I mean, if they were conscripted child stormtroopers, that's different from, hello, I'm Allegiant General Pride, and I was part of the last empire, and I stayed here this entire time. I mean, he exploded, so bad example, but if they captured someone like him, straight to jail right away.
Straight to jail.
That's what I say.
Yeah, I think most of the First Order were new recruits as children.
I think most of them did not have a choice, which just sucks.
In which I think they should be forgiven for the most part.
Like that's when it becomes a lot more difficult, because it was kidnapped children, and I don't know how to go about fixing that.
Yeah,
it's just tragic all around.
Yeah, if we're talking about brainwashed children, then yeah, that's different from someone who willingly signed up and did a bunch of stuff as an adult,
right,
knowing what they were doing.
I have to believe that a lot of them were like Finn or Janna and Torrent Company, that they just didn't know better.
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like the newer Republic should treat the Stormtroopers. It's like, for this New Republic, I'm like, you might want to treat the Stormtroopers a little harsher, but Stormtroopers of the First Order are a different case. They didn't volunteer.
Yeah. This is way more complicated than we're this is way above our pay tier, I'll say that. I have no good answers for this.
Also, ask me a beer and a half ago.
Garth McMurray, thank you for the next super chat. Do you think Moff Gideon escaped or got mind wiped? Oh, did he escape and is still out there behind Kane's motives with her being faithful to him? I don't think he got mind wiped.
I don't think you have Giancarlo Esposito to mind wipe him and have him not be Giancarlo Esposito.
No, sir.
I don't know that he's escaped yet. I like that they're sprinkling that intrigue around. I don't think I want him to have escaped off screen. I'd like to see that happen. I don't mind if he escaped. I just want to see it because I think it would be cool.
Yeah. I think I do like the idea of him escaping because I want him to still be a threat. Because you're right. That actor just needs to stick around. But I'll go on to Garth's next super chat here. I think going by letters and numbers prevents awkward meetings like, hi, I'm Dr. I don't know how to say this. Joseph
Mengele.
Mengele, but then they also have him give a big speech. Yeah. I mean, maybe.
There were definitely some Operation Paperclip vibes to this episode. I brought this up in my review. It's not a perfect analogy because they didn't like Werner von Braun him, where like, oh, you're in charge of the space program now. No, you're just going to be in a cubicle, but still, same kind of thing.
Yeah, very similar.
I wanted to bring this up super quick from Joe Seok. Can we talk about the directing? My brother's partner is Isaac, who directed the episode. He's a genius and a beautiful mind. That's awesome. Yes, we can talk about the directing. It was awesome. Specific, like I can't tell you the smile I had on my face during the Starfighter chase. That is my jam as a Star Wars fan. I love starfighters. I love dogfights and chases, and I thought that was incredible. Probably the biggest reaction that I let out the whole episode was that drift. So
yeah,
loved all of that.
That's the one that I drew. If anyone missed my drawing, it's kind of a boring drawing, but I wanted to draw it because that was a great moment. But yeah, I loved how this episode was set up with the continuation of Bo and Din at the start, and then we get all the cool Coruscant stuff in the middle and Dr. Pershing and what's going on with the New Republic. And then it's bookended by Bo and Din again going back to the covert, and there's so many parallels within all of the characters' stories that it just works. It just works really well. So well done.
Liked it a lot. I'm the Stein has the next super chat. Thank you. I'm not so interested in clone Luke so much as I am wondering where the other DNA is from. It would be too difficult to even have a clone Luke now and too costly. Yeah, can you imagine having 2 deepfake Lukes on screen? Hilo agrees.
I think I said this while you were gone earlier, but I was like, we already have clone Luke. He's the CGI Luke that we are seeing on screen whenever we see him.
Yeah, I don't know who the other DNA is from, but I don't know that we're going to find out anytime soon because that stupid rich Coruscanti person interrupted him as he was talking. But I wanted to know too. Darth Nicholas has 3 in a row here, so we can read those out. First says, Dr. Pershing shout out to the Kaminoans, gave off some serious Bad Batch vibes. With that said, I don't expect to see him on Mount Tantus in Bad Batch and don't want one. Nah, I think he's too young. Do you expect such a cameo? I don't. He's too young.
Too young, and I think, he was like, what are you guys doing?
What were you borking about?
Dinner time.
He said that. It's dinner time.
It's our dinner time. He knows it's our dinner time. No, he would be too young, but I like that he knows his history and he knows about the Kaminoans and their research on cloning. I assume he did a bunch of work and research on that stuff, so I liked that was brought up.
The next one says, watching Bad Batch before this Mando ep makes Pershing's Kaminoan shout-out hit harder than vice versa, considering Kaminoans seem to have gone the way of the Rakatans by the New Republic. Yeah, they're mostly gone. There are a handful throughout the galaxy, but that's it.
True.
And to make my last super chat sound more relevant, I should have said Way of the Tongs. Also true. Hey, Tongs, Rakatans, we're all nerds here. It all makes sense.
Holly has the next super chat here. Interesting how we don't see any familiar faces re the New Republic. How much more charitable would we feel towards the New Republic if we saw Leia or Mothma? I don't know that either of them would show their face in an event like this. They'd probably be like, oh, this again, this showboat BS.
like that's my struggle with the way the New Republic is presented, and it kind of has to be shown this way because of the way things eventually go. But I'm
Mhm.
just like, everything that they fought for, it just doesn't work out. And I don't blame them personally or anything. It's just that I think that if you let someone like Palpatine take control of the galaxy or the world or the country or the state or whatever, that it's a struggle to fix it after the fact. It's not just a quick, like, ah, well, now that we're back in charge, everything will be fine. It's like, nope, there is so much that got messed up that we now
Mhm.
have to handle. And we have to handle it not like the Empire would. Like, we need to be the better people, but that causes problems too. And there's just no easy answers to this. So
Yeah.
I'm like, but part of me doesn't want to see Mon Mothma, and she needs to rest. She's having a hard enough time as it is in Andor.
She's got to deal with Perrin.
Yeah.
Ugh. Which brings me to the next super chat that is off topic enough that I am very excited to read it. Padfoot1979, thank you so much. Not related to Star Wars, but did you have time to watch episode 1 of Ted Lasso today? Very excited for this season and to see how it ends. We did watch it last night because we were literally on stream on the other channel that I'm a co-host on, Certain Point of View, talking about Last of Us. And then one of my co-hosts, Brian, his phone went off and said Ted Lasso is now available on Apple Plus, and we were like, "Oh my god!" So we watched it last night, and it was great.
I was so relieved because I love Ted Lasso, and I did not want to wait until probably 10 p.m. to watch it tonight. And so last night we sat down, we had dinner. I had some biscuits with the boss ice cream, watched Ted Lasso, really enjoyed it. I think that so far each season has been less funny, but more dramatic, but not in a bad way. Like, I'm still very into the story. Also, I wish I had taken a screenshot of Rupert's office, which I was like, he's just the emperor. That's the emperor's throne room that he's in. So,
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I meant to
yeah,
take a picture of that, but I didn't want to like spoil
I need to
Ted
do it
Lasso
too.
stuff.
Yeah.
We should do that. Let's do that. Mr. Dr. Professor
Poos?
Pooch? I don't know how to say that. Thank you for the 2 super chats, and sorry you had to send 2. Because the next one says, forgot to actually type anything. And my first one, Lamau. Dr. Pershing, more like Dr. Perishing.
Oh, maybe that's why that's his name.
Hope he doesn't actually die, though. They might treat it similar to Bodhi in the Rogue One movie. Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
kind of losing his mind for a little bit.
Yeah, I like the idea of the name Dr. Pershing to resemble perishing because he could and will die at any moment.
He can and he will.
But I don't think he died from the mind flare. I think he's just a brain wiped vegetable at this point. Hopefully, who can be rehabilitated? I don't know.
Reawakened? I don't know. I think that's true. I don't think she killed him. I think that was his big worry. He didn't say like, "Oh God, you're gonna kill me." He was like, "No, you are going to erase my mind." So I think that's what she did. So
Yeah,
maybe there's a way to reverse that.
which is interesting. If someone like Gideon or Thrawn or any of the big bads actually needed what he knew, like needed his expertise, yeah, that's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
So what was the reason? Just to get rid of him?
I think so. He probably knew too much and was too okay with being part of the New Republic. Like, I do think he was rehabilitated. I think he wanted to help the New Republic. I think he was willing to do bad things in the service of that. And so that was dangerous enough for Gideon, Katie O'Brien, whoever, to eliminate him.
I wanted to bring this recent super chat up because it's relevant. His name is Pen Pershing, Pen Pushing.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, he kind of got pushed into a pencil pusher job, and that makes sense.
Yep. We've got a few here that I think we can get through quickly because most of them are about my shoes. But Garth McMurray has one. Thank you, Garth. It just says Wrecker got full in the episode of The Bad Batch.
Oh yeah,
So
because
Tech will note down the date and time.
that was hilarious.
Yeah.
When Tech said that, he was like, "I will note the date and time because this is a glorious victory." He didn't say that, but like basically it was like,
did.
what a big event.
He said, I will
is
note
actually
down
full.
this momentous occasion.
So funny.
Okay, I am the Stein says, here, Alex, buy some heels. Would love some. Ken Plume says, are we buying Alex snappy chappy shoes? Done. My shoes are fine. I can buy my own shoes. And I'll say, Ruro Shin said, if you have to say your shoes are fine, your shoes are probably not fine. Just saying. And I was literally just saying that, and I don't feel good about you telepathically pulling that out of my head, but they are fine. If I washed them a bit, they'd be better, but they're not bad. They're comfortable. They're comfortable shoes. I'm going to get new shoes. I've already agreed to this, and everyone's still harassing me, including Doomslayer 420 that says, oh, wait, no, not include. Doomslayer 420 is my only friend. It says, I'm on team Alex's current shoes. Stay comfy.
Wait, was that a super chat?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I see it. Oh, I'm
Thank
sure
you,
they're
Doomslayer.
And I'm not saying to get rid of those. Just have those as your comfy, dirty shoes.
They are my comfy, dirty shoes. They're also my comfy shoes.
Okay. Well, it sounds like you've already made the good choice. So I'm happy.
I'll get some more shoes. So
I'm
people
happy.
don't. If anyone at Celebration comes up to me and says they like my new shoes, I will high five them. I don't know what to offer.
There you go. Love it.
Get some new shoes. And Jacob Gould said, thank you for the super chat. As someone who has more than 20 conventions under his belt, comfortable shoes are more important than pretty shoes. I feel like that's on my side as well.
Yeah, but like if you got new shoes now, you could break them in before we get there.
Yeah, but I already have comfy shoes, is what I'm saying.
Are they comfy? How long have you had them? How many miles have you put on those shoes? I got those for you 3 Christmases ago.
We were here, so it had to have been, let's say it was 3 Christmases ago. Fine. I don't think it was for Christmas.
It was either Christmas or your birthday. No, it wasn't your birthday.
I think you just randomly got them for me because you hated my last shoes. Anyway,
no, I got them before the last celebration, I think. Or 2. No.
Oh, a year ago?
Yeah.
That's it? A year?
How many miles did you put on them?
These shoes are fine.
How many miles did you put on them? As a former
500.
As a former cross-country runner, do you recommend still using those shoes? Are they still cushioned enough for you?
They're fine.
This is stupid.
Your shoes explained now. This is your fault. I'm getting new shoes. I'm doing it.
Good. You keep bringing it up. I'm not bringing it up anymore.
I'm not bringing it up. This is your fault. This is Samo says get dirtier shoes. And I like that. Thank you, Samo. I'm going to get the dirtiest shoes. I'm gonna be
I'm just
walking
gonna
around in mud, just muddy feet. That's what I'll have on at Celebration.
I'm gonna go ahead and read this because I like it, and I don't remember when it came in or how it makes sense. But Andrew711 said, "Mighty Morphin Mandalorians."
I'm gonna guess just talk of all the different colors of Mandalorian armor.
Yeah, I think this was like during the shoe conversation, so apologies. I guess.
I mean, that chances are most of this stream has been talk of shoes.
The legend will tell.
I don't even know what that means.
Mm.
But Ice has
You
two
wouldn't.
super chats. Only people with clean shoes know what that means. Ice has 2 super chats here in a row. Thank you, Ice. Honestly, it was just so cool getting to see Coruscant in this era. I loved getting to see this Monument Plaza from the Clone Wars in live action. So did I. It looked amazing and exactly like an animation. That was great. I also loved that. I won't lie, though, when they mentioned decommissioning rebel ships, I had to roll my eyes. I do not agree with that move in the novels, and it's always been a frustrating move for me by Mon Mothma. I mean, you rolled your eyes, but it's consistent with the books. And that's what people always want, is for the shows to say, like, oh, the book said this, so we have to do this. And they did that.
That's true.
I agree with you that I think that they decommissioned too early, that they went like, okay, war's over, let's go back to peacetime. It's like that Mon Mothma is just very idealistic, and I like that about her. But I think that was her most idealistic move, to be like, Battle of Jakku ended, let's get rid of the fleet. Like, okay.
Yeah. Darth Nicholas has another couple of super chats here. I'll see if I can scroll down and read them all together. Thank you so much, Darth Nicholas. I really like the idea of Mandalore the Great being the first human to claim the Mandalore title, capitalizing on the legacy of such tongs as Mandalore the Indomitable and Mandalore the Ultimate. I would like a round of applause for not messing up any of those words.
I was proud. Genuinely proud.
And let me see if I can find the next one. The lyrics in my first super chat are from the Mandoa song Vode on from Republic Commando.
Okay, that makes sense.
Seeing Scorch 2 weeks ago and then hearing Tong's Day is quote, like poetry. It rhymes, to quote George Lucas.
I need to learn more Mandoa. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And by that, I mean, I need to learn any Mandoa.
That's your 1 week spot, sounds like.
Many.
And then with that said, I loved hearing Mandoa songs in Republic Commando. I hope to hear Vode on, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, or others like it in Mando. One song from the Book of Boba Fett soundtrack is titled, parentheses, not sung, I don't think, in Mandoa. You want to say that?
No, you say it.
Elite Orisha Talden.
Sure.
Yeah?
I probably would have gone with Taldeen, but
Taldeen.
I don't
because
know.
of, well, I don't know. It's spelled like Din Jarin, so I said Din.
Dragoness Prime is right. My weak spots are documented well on this channel. It's all the characters I hate. It's anything that's ever knocked me out of a trivia competition. They're all my weak spots, but they're not weak spots anymore, so I guess that's not true. Technically, they've become strong spots.
Out of anger.
Yeah. But I know them now.
Tony, is that Izzo or Lizzo?
Izzo,
I can't tell. Izzo. Okay. Tony Izzo, thank you for this next super chat. Assuming he makes an appearance this season, do you think they'll ever delve into how Moff Gideon got his hands on the Darksaber?
I do think he'll appear in the season. Giancarlo Esposito basically said that he would. My headcanon right now is that Bo-Katan surrendered it to him after the bombing of Mandalore. Like, I think that was her saying, please stop killing my people.
Yeah.
Here, take the Darksaber. And now she's trying to get it back. But yeah, I would love to hear. I would love to not have that be headcanon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's just gonna turn into another Zilla Beast question. Like, how did he get it? I don't know.
Yeah.
He just got it. But it would be great if they showed us that. There's the amount of flashbacks that are racking up in my head that I wish that they would show. It's a lot. Jacob Gould has the next one here. Am I the only one who is a little annoyed that we didn't see the Gauntlet's wings spinning? It's probably one of my favorite features in Mandalorian shipbuilding, and it was almost completely ignored. I don't know. I mean, we got that one little spin, and that was even... I mean, I didn't even realize that they could spin.
If we didn't get the drift that we got, then I would agree with you more. But they showed me something new and cool that I had never seen them do before. So I really like that.
The one. Like,
yeah, like they could... wait, this one's empty. They can like spin this way too. They can spin around the cockpit.
Oh, sure. Okay. That makes sense.
So yeah, that would have been cool. But since they did the drift, I'm like, all right, you get a pass.
You get a pass.
You get a pass this time.
It was still cool. But I mean, if they can do that, then they can do more. We might see more.
They can do so much.
We're only 3 episodes in.
And we know the Gauntlet's coming back because we know those Mandalorians are going to drop out of that ship.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's got to be the next episode, right?
I think it will be. If it's another... I forget. I think they released the list of directors and writers. I believe next week is written by Dave Filoni, directed by Carl Weathers. So I think we're going back to Navarro.
Thank you, Jane, for another shoe super chat. Okay, I have a shoe compromise that you just wash them really well and also put like a new pair of Dr. Soles in there. Just kidding. Get new shoes.
Getting new shoes. I'll wash my shoes too. I'll have 2 great pairs of shoes.
And I think you should bring both.
That's just a waste of space in the suitcase.
It is not.
I can wear the shoes. Now there's no shoes in my suitcase. Saved so much room.
I am not arguing about this anymore.
Oh, well, you're gonna bring 4 pairs of boots, and then we'll see how much room we have left for goodies from Star Wars Celebration.
Your shoes are gonna be soaking wet. I got a pair of platform boots that are not gonna get wet in any rain.
That's fair. Fine, I'll bring 2 pairs, but I'm gonna wear 1 pair on my hands.
I hope you're proud of yourself.
This is the dumbest. This is your fault.
You keep bringing it up.
How did I bring that up? You literally brought that Streamlab up into the chat. You did this. I wasn't going to talk about shoes the whole night, like I always do. Am I reading this one?
Yes.
Ice, thank you. I'll read Ice's next 2 super chats here. Thank you. Bo-Katan joining the Watch is very intriguing. I saw the idea that maybe Paz Vizsla will be an antagonist instead of the armor, and I could see that. Me too. Maybe there's some beef that'll come to the surface now. And their second one says, we don't know how he's related to Pre, cousins maybe, but he might blame Bo-Katan for the fall of Death Watch and his kin, considering that Maul is dead, so he can't get revenge on him. Thoughts? I do think that there's beef, because in that scene where everyone was like, hey, welcome back to the fold, Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, like everyone's patting each other on the back, it specifically showed Paz Vizsla just standing there. So I think there's some beef there.
Yeah. Sorry, I agree. I'm trying to like figure out how many more super chats are about shoes. That would be interesting. Yeah, it's again, we talk about a lot of this in the Q&A that we filmed today that's coming out on Saturday. So I don't want to like spoil too much of that, but we get into like Death Watch and when they might bring it up, if they're going to bring it up, should they bring it up? So I will just say check out Saturday's Q&A.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see. Like, I could see Paz Vizsla being a very young Vizsla, as like he was a child of the Watch as the Clone Wars were coming to an end, and now he's 30 or so, 30-ish. I don't know.
Yeah. Let's see the shoes. You'll see him at Celebration because they'll be there.
I have to pick them out. I have to find new shoes now. I have a chore that I have to, an extra thing to do.
I sent you the ones to get.
I know. They're Skechers and they look very comfortable.
Adam Marks, thank you so much for the next non-shoe related super chat. All shoe related super chats are also welcome. I don't want to shy those away, but maybe Pershing's brain will be so messed up that he needs a computerized voice voiced by William Daniels, aka Mr. Feeney, aka Kit from Knight Rider. Wait, did he voice Kit from Knight Rider?
Yeah.
Did I not know that?
No.
That's awesome.
We need William Daniels to come back and voice the N1 Starfighter for Din. Why not?
I would love that. Oh man. All right. I'm the Stein. Thank you so much. What would you wear with your new shoes? Jeans and a t-shirt. I'll just answer that one.
A hoodie if it's cold.
Oh yeah, because I'm worried about how cold it might be.
Yep.
Over there.
But that is correct.
You can read this one. I'll read all the shoe related ones.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for this non-shoe related super chat. I assume. Since next week is a Filoni episode, do you think this is when we'll revisit Grogu's Order 66 flashback and learn how he survived and who rescued him? I'm going to guess no. Because I think...
Wait, I thought next week was a Carl Weathers episode.
It is. But it's written by Dave Filoni. Because it's Carl Weathers, I think it's going to be a Navarro episode. I think it will involve Carl Weathers as Reef Karga, like episode 4 of season 2 and episode 1 of this season. I think they're going to stick with that.
That tells me that we're going to get more pirates that we might know about. Even more pirates, if you get my drift.
Jack Sparrow?
Very specific pirate.
And Boylan?
That Dave Filoni might know a lot about.
Greenbeard?
Who?
That's Gorian Shard.
No.
Because
the one that lives at Galaxy's Edge.
Oh. That's... I'd be surprised, but pleasantly so.
Yeah. We're talking about Hondo Anaka.
Yeah, I know. I was playing...
I was trying to get you to say the name. Jeez.
Oh, well, I was trying to play super dumb. That'd be fun. And I'm still shocked he hasn't appeared in this series yet.
I'll bring up the next Darth Nicholas super chat for you to read because I think the rest
because
might
the rest
be
are
shoe
about
related.
shoes. Cool.
But I will read them.
Darth Nicholas, thank you for this other non-shoe related super chat. One question I've always had: why do so many species in Star Wars refuse to wear shoes? This is a shoe related super chat. Refuse to wear shoes and always go barefoot, regardless of the conditions of whatever surface they walk on. I assume because they're hobbits and they have walked across enough surfaces that their feet are just numb to anything and everything. If it's cold, it doesn't matter. Can they walk on lava? Yeah, probably. Like, that's what I assume a Dewootin could do. Also, there were a couple months where I tried to make my feet hobbit feet, and it didn't work.
What?
I just tried to walk around barefoot outside.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I used to do that all the time.
Yeah, but I was actively trying to callus my feet so I could be a hobbit.
Ugh. Gross.
So I wouldn't need shoes.
That's not... Okay. I understand. Okay, let's get through some of these. Thank you all so much for putting up with our silly shoe jokes. Ruroshin says hand shoes explained because Alex said he would want a pair of shoes on his hands. Jacob Gould said multiple pairs of fresh socks are more important than shoes. Alex needs new socks too, so that's a whole other.
That's not true. I have plenty of socks. I have good socks.
You have plenty of socks. You need new socks.
No, you got me a lot of socks for Christmas, literally.
Aiden L says shoe. Cassia Pidgeot says, when are we getting a Star Wars Explained video about Star Wars shoes, Alex? That was like the first nice pair of shoes that you ever bought was a pair of Star Wars Adidas.
That's true. With their first partnership with Adidas, they put out Skywalkers, and they're a high top orange shoe with white accents. And I got those. Those are still the most expensive pieces of clothing that I own. And I wear them like once a year, maybe. Because I mostly just want to have them.
Barely broken in. We love it. Ken Plume, I bet Biggs owned some fancy Cap'n shoes, Alex.
I think he means Cap'n shoes.
Cap'n shoes. Cap'n.
And now that sounds great. Put little capes on my shoes. I like that.
Where are we at with shoe?
I don't know. This is you. I'm just sitting here now. This is your doing.
Rurushan, thank you again so much. Sorry we teased you about your shoes, Alex. I really feel like a heel.
Excellent. Excellent pun. I'm proud of you.
Jane, thank you again. What do you think? What do you think so many characters in Star Wars wear high calf boots? You should probably get high calf boots, Alex. I mean, we might need to if it rains the whole time we're in London. We might have to buy some cute little rain boots.
The first Halloween costume we did together, the first couple's costume, was Han and Leia, and I built us calf-high boots out of duct tape.
Whose idea was that?
Was it yours? I think it was my idea. I don't know. That was like 14 years ago. Wait, yeah. That was so long ago, Molly. There's no way you know.
The hippie Jedi, thank you for the next super chat.
You're just gonna move on.
What's the most comfortable shoe in Star Wars?
Tarkin's slippers.
Oh yeah, that's such a good answer. Which we never actually saw those in Star Wars, but they had to have existed.
But we know.
Just like Dooku had pajamas, Tarkin had slippers on all the time. Why not? Let me go back up.
Yeah,
to
there's
the,
two. There's two.
The
that
real
are-
questions. Not that these aren't real questions, but
They're
you
not.
know,
I'm not complaining, but they know what they're doing.
Calm like a bomb, aka 12th Dragon. If it happens, I think it will be in the finale, but I just want to see Din riding the Mythosaur while wielding the Darksaber. That was your original guess to happen, wasn't it? That Din would be it.
I mean, I think that's what this show is. He's the reluctant leader archetype. He almost started this series like covered in mud, beaten by Jawas and a mud horn until this child helped him out. Like he started from a lowly position. The fact that he could rise up to become Mandalore, that feels like the story.
Yeah. I think that would be very poetic. We just need Din to get a little more confidence.
Agreed.
Which he might now.
He just needs to learn to wield that Darksaber. He needs to want it. That's his thing. But he's the reluctant leader, and that's why he's struggling.
Mm-hmm. Aiden L, thank you so much for the next super chat. What did the Mandalorian colors mean in Legends, and do they mean anything in canon?
I know I've done a
Ooh.
video on this. It was a while ago. None of it's canon, I would say. I have to look it up, especially now. I think black is like a mourning color. Someone close to you died. I'll look it up real quick. It is cool. It is neat. Gray. Oh, gray. Excuse me. Gray is mourning a lost love or family member. Red means honoring a parent or leader. Black is justice. Gold is vengeance. Green is duty. Blue, reliability. Orange, a lust for life or freedom. A lust for life for freedom. And white is a fresh start. There's also purple is luck. Pink is respected. Brown is valor. Maroon, power. Light green, a lust for peace. Scarlet, defiance or restlessness. Silver, seeking redemption. Oh, that actually works.
Silver, yeah.
Because that's what he is. And
Yeah.
he is a blank slate. Okay, cool. All right. I said it's not canon, but that
Might
works.
be.
Yellow is remembrance. Teal is healing. Bronze is nobility. Cyan, love. Tan, loyalty. Magenta, passion. Pine, guarding. Navy, fighting for a cause.
I think this all points to Sabine being the true leader because she's a painter and she uses it all.
Color. Yeah. Her hair alone has been all of those colors.
Yeah.
But silver, seeking redemption, that does work.
That sounds like a
I
short.
feel like that is a happy accident in the storytelling, but it is cool.
I like it. Darth Nicholas, thank you for this next super chat. Is there going to be like a foot fetish guide to different Star Wars species? No,
Only
not anytime soon.
If Quentin Tarantino directs a Star Wars movie, but I'm pretty sure he just announced his last Star Wars or his last film ever, so I think
And it's going to be about movie reviewers or something like that.
Yeah.
Bill Rudd, thank you so much. Bringing things full circle. Adam mentioned the Blast Points podcast, who has an episode with Tom Spina about all the feet of Star Wars creatures. Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect segue into that. Oh my God, I'm going to have to check that out because it fits. And Jeremy Skywalker with our last super chat here. Thank you so much. I love you guys. Have a fun celebration trip. Thank you so much. We are in the early days of planning, packing, and everything, which is always the most stressful part for me.
It's close enough that we're stressed out about it, but it's still far enough away that obviously we're not going yet.
Yeah, but it's like a big enough trip because we're going a bit early that I don't know. I've never been out of the country for that long before, so packing for a trip like that is daunting.
I don't think that's true, but we've been out of the country for about that long.
2 weeks?
10 days? It's about right.
Something like that. But yeah, thank you so much. We're very excited, but still in that phase of being really anxious and nervous. Ken Plume, thank you. You can't step away now. Not in those shoes. I don't
Joke's
think
on
either
you.
of us are wearing
Not
shoes
wearing any
right now.
shoes.
Which you're not going to see because no free feet content.
I could show my foot. There was a piece of
No.
lettuce stuck to it earlier today. I don't know. I was on the kitchen floor and I was like, oh, God. Someone dropped some lettuce on the floor. I don't know who. Probably the person that makes a giant salad every day. And it's not me.
Darth Nicholas had to bring up, there's a wiki feat. Now we just need a Wookiee feat, a Star Wars-based feat encyclopedia. I'm shocked it hasn't happened already.
That would be a funny parody site.
Samo, thank you so much. Will Gideon be the main antagonist of season 3, or will they bench him for someone new? I noted they said it wasn't an Imperial warlord. Gideon versus Mandalorian army would be cool. Also, let's see the comfy shoes.
I haven't bought them yet. Maybe
Well,
they'll probably be here by next week.
They might be talking about your current shoes, which is what you said are comfy.
Oh, well, they're downstairs.
They're downstairs. But
I'll have all my shoes in this room next week.
Will Gideon be the main antagonist for season 3, or will they bench him for someone new?
I'll go get my shoes.
Don't.
No. Oh, are you that embarrassed by them?
No, I'm hungry.
I'll bring my shoes up next week. Also,
Look at Hilo.
He saw me almost get up and now he's excited.
Look, even Hilo's hungry. He wants his late night snack.
Oh, little snack boy.
I'm interested to see what they do with Gideon. I don't think they're just gonna bench him, but I do think he'll come into play. But ultimately, this is all gonna lead to Thrawn, right?
Yeah, I think so.
It's gonna lead to him kind of being the big bad.
Agreed.
King Snake 41st. Alex is drowning in these shoe super chats. Could we call this death by shoe? Shoe?
I don't know.
Maybe.
We should. I will bring my shoes up here next week. And if people really want to see them, they'll be here. I'll do that. But we should go eat something, anything.
I'll make next week about how many likes we get on the video until you show your shoes. How about that?
All right, fine.
But until then, that's gonna do it for us tonight.
So dumb.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in, for being so active in the chat, for dealing with our ridiculous shoe conversations.
Thank you for watching our show. This is the shoe.
I take full responsibility. I brought it up. I apologize, but not really. Because now you should be able to afford your new shoes. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to buy them.
Thank you guys so much. Have a great night. We're going to be streaming tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Eastern, talking all about Bad Batch, which we both said earlier that we preferred a little bit over today's Mando episode. So if you think that's a hot take, come to the stream tomorrow and tell us about it.
Okay. I'm going to go buy some new shoes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.